Please take your seat. The show is about to begin.
Presented by Front Yard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon. Joined as always by my wildly handsome co-host, John Luke Garofalo. Our friend Coop with us, aka Coop A. Fiasco. Hey, welcome in everyone. This is the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. I'm your host, Simon, joined by my co-host, John Luke Garofalo, and making his return back from Europe, back on the show, we've got Coop A. Fiasco. What's up, Coop?
Hey, hogs up, boys. Let's go.
Woo!
Let's go. Yip, skiddly-doo.
I missed that yip skiddly.
I just spit all over my screen. Let's go.
Perfect welcome back. Your camera's like, oh, man, come on. Come on, bro.
Let's get it, dude.
The Hogs are back in the pen, says Tommy. The Hogs are back. Coop, how's it feel to be back in the States? You feeling all right?
Phenomenal, dude. It's I mean, the first thing I did, as Jim Rome would say, phenomenal. I got back to the States, dude. First thing I did was get McDonald's, and I brought it to a brewery. That's how I started my
nice.
my day.
So American.
And my father-in-law and mother-in-law were kind enough to bring my dog with them, dude. So I got at the airport, they picked me up, dog, McDonald's, beers, dude. I was like, I mean, that must be what it feels like to get your citizenship. I feel like
that was like the first time in your life
to be an immigrant.
You were like overwhelmed with American pride as you sit there with your Big Mac and chicken McNuggets, petting your dog with a beer in front of you. You're like, man, this
God bless
the American dream right in front of me.
I think people do like, second honeymoons and stuff like that. Like we should all do like our own like second citizenship at some point. And then you pass the test,
I don't even
you're like,
remember my first one, so I would love that.
That's what I'm saying. We never got that opportunity. We never take a picture with like a little flag, right? Like,
yeah.
Exactly. You know the exact picture, right?
What about when someone fails? Because it's going to happen.
Then you're out, bro. And
then you're gone.
You got to be real careful with that. You got to be real careful.
One of my favorite genres of TikTok are the tourists from Europe who come here and like they tape themselves in like Target or like Quick Trip, and they're like freaking out. They're like, oh my God, look at the 45 kinds of Oreos. And like they can't believe what they're seeing. And I'm like, and you know what? Target is pretty cool. They're not wrong. Like, bro, that's a pretty cool
till you
store.
see Costco.
That was me and my wife. That was me and my wife everywhere, though. Like first of all, they had this supermarket in Copenhagen called Co-op, which basically just says Coop. So I'm like taking all these pictures. I'm like, you guys sell shirts? And they're like, I don't even speak English. You know what I mean? Like, it was like so yeah. And then
how'd you say that?
My wife, of course, if you look at her phone, she has 745 pictures of canals. I'm like, we have water back home, right? Like there are bridges back home. But yeah, just like
I'm just imagining her photo roll is just like random pictures of the canals, like not really that photo like scenic. They're just like random.
I'll tell you,
the corner of the canal.
100 though, for real though, like the percentage of them that are actual good pictures of canals, minimal, maybe five, maybe 5 to 10.
Maybe she's making a model back home, and so the photos were for details, not for display. And she was like, I need to get this detail exactly right for my Venice and Amsterdam themed model train set.
I pray.
I was in the same thought process as you, Simon. It's the train set.
I really
imagine how cool that would be.
Yeah. Well, dude, that's funny you mentioned that because my favorite thing that I did out there, thanks for asking, was was that day. You know the day I called you from the bus when we were in Switzerland?
Yeah.
Well, dude, like there's something about like being a man that like inherently, whether obviously some people take it to another level, but inherently somewhere in the back of your brain, like you think about trains and you're like, that's
all the time.
Right? Like they're just like someone mentions trains and you're like, yeah, trains are sick. right? So like we went out and scheduled this I woke up early in the morning and scheduled this 8-hour thing where we just hop in trains going all through Switzerland, and that was the coolest thing ever, man. Just seeing how people live that I could never live like that. Like some of these villages in the mountain, it's literally like they're up on the side of a ledge where if you drop your phone, it would literally roll down and fall off a cliff into the ocean, and that's where they live their whole life. It's just crazy to me. So that was
kind of insane. I feel like we all think everybody has the same life as us. Not that everybody has the same, but largely similar.
Real though, I kept driving around. We were riding around. And I kept turning to the kid. I was like, these people probably think their life is normal.
Do you even know who Evan Ingram is?
But their life is probably way more normal than mine, dude. Mine's ridiculous. What am I doing right now, dude? You know?
Yeah, who's the weird one? The guy lives on top of a mountain, or a guy's up at 5 a.m. talking with Jalen and Simon about trains. Talking about on the radio.
Recreating a Venice-themed train set in your basement.
For real though, that dude just sipping a cup of tea, watching the sunrise over the Swiss Alps, and I'm sitting here being like, that guy's life terrible. It's probably great.
He's never had McDonald's with his dog at a brewery.
Oh, the best is when you watch House Hunters International and they're moving to a small town like that, and one of them is so about it, and then the husband will be like, yeah, but where's the micro center? Just not even has it not clicked that they're not going to have running water. It hasn't clicked yet that they're not going to have Best Buy up the street and a Panda Express across the corner.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Coop, you know what a micro center is?
I do. Yeah, that's where we have one here. Actually, we have one here. Yeah. Well, because I think you and I have talked about this before. That
we already talked about it.
There are very few left.
A few times.
There are very few left, but there's one in Cambridge, Massachusetts. One of the few left, and
I don't think there's ever been too many.
There's people that I've never been myself, but people that I know that are very into computer stuff. They're that's church.
Oh yeah.
There's people make their homages to Micro Center. They love Micro Center. Checks out, nerd. Gotcha, guys. We got Craig in the chat saying the bigger weirdos are probably the ones listening to you every day. 5 days.
And we love you.
I didn't want to say it.
We love you, weirdos. I miss you, weirdos. And dude, being out there, it really made me think how great of a format this is. I know there's some bugs and stuff and some stuff we got to work out, but just think about I was able to call in from 6 different countries, and anybody that's part of the show, friends of ours, can call in, and they do, right? Joey calls in, Dustin calls in, Hal calls in. You can call in, join us, hang out. How cool is that, dude? No matter where you are, you hit that call button, smash that fun button. That is awesome, man. So,
also, shout out
for sure, Matt.
European phone data, because dude, your phone quality coming in from the mountains of Switzerland and downtown Copenhagen was clearer than you are right now.
Oh yeah.
It was unbelievable.
So
they had that 7G or something going on over there.
The worst one was my buddy's Wi-Fi, right? In Amsterdam.
Exactly.
That
was the same thing.
That one was iffy. That was more American, what I'm used to with, any sort of internet streaming with America.
I bet if I cut off the Wi-Fi, I would have been fine. I wish I had known in advance. I just didn't suspect that would be the case. But I mean, man, that's cool stuff, dude. So everybody out there, call in, say what up, dude. Put the kiddos on. We're having fun here, and you can't do that on regular radio. You know what I mean? If I called in from Switzerland, and I would just been on Sirius XM, I would have been yeah, right now I'm looking at hey, I'm looking at a house. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have been able to show everybody the mountains and all that stuff.
They would have thrown us off that so quickly. Thrown us off Sirius. Shout out Matt though. Shout out Matt from BSN who really put that together, had that vision, the call-in button. That was all him. That's
so cool. Dude.
I completely agree with you.
And I didn't have any special connection or anything. I was in the app hitting the call-in button, right? It doesn't get much better.
Yeah.
He honestly just misclicked, was trying to hit the fun button. all of a sudden he was on air. I was like, what the hell is going on?
Swiss chocolate all over my face.
Guys, it is that time of morning. I hope everybody brought their own breakfast, because we've got everything else. We've got the news stories and the topics that we need to talk about, but you are responsible for your breakfast. John Luke, you got some breakfast today?
I have some OJ.
That's kind of in the juice cup. Well, do you have if you don't have breakfast, do you have a news story for us? You got something we need to talk about bright and early this Monday morning?
Oh, I got some news stories.
I got one thing I just want to I just want to throw out, Keith brought this to my attention, producer Keith, that
Yes.
we have to say real quick, rest in peace to all you Power Rangers fans out there. The Green Ranger, unfortunately, the guy who plays him passed away. So shout out, big part of my childhood, dude. Him jumping out of the plane with like the snowboard thing, probably the coolest thing anyone's ever done. When I was a kid, I was like,
Top 5.
that was peak coolness. So
Peak
shout
coolness.
out Green Ranger, rest in peace, my dude.
Dude made so many kids happy.
Oh.
And now, but I'm with you, Coop. Good shout out.
Yeah,
Now
very good shout out.
Back to what you had, Joe.
Yeah, this kind of feels this probably feels stupid bringing this up now, but sources inside the Jets losing locker room told SNY this weekend that Zach Wilson was walking around the game like he isn't the problem, quote unquote. It rubbed more than a few the wrong way, frustrating several others. Jets videos. It's pretty interesting. You guys think we might get a Sam Darnold type situation here?
I saw another one where a reporter asked him if he thought that he let the defense down, and his answer was just no follow-up. That is,
you mad, bro.
The big there were a lot of wrong answer responses to that one as well. So I don't know, dude. I don't know.
And if you watch the video, it wasn't just like no. It was no like a little kid who had cookie crumbs all over their face, and their mom said, "Did you eat all the cookies?" And they said, "No." Like it was just like a very quick like no, like head shaking, like no.
Like one of those.
I mean,
like one of those
crumbs in where his mustache would be if he was old enough to grow a mustache.
A dog, and just like a big pile of what used to be your shoe, and he's been like looking around, be like,
that was Simon.
Exactly. No, I mean dude. Not a good response. Know what I mean? Like you guys put up 3 points. You put up 3 points, and you're going to look at the media and say like, nope, no personal responsibility here. Not a single ounce of it for me, Zach Wilson. Like that's not got to work well with your team. Like, did you see the quote from Garrett Wilson yesterday as well? I forget the exact wording, but Garrett Wilson's quote, like they asked him like what happened out there, and he's like, it's unacceptable. Like what's happening out there is not okay. We need to fix it. We need to get better. Like this is completely unacceptable what we're doing offensively. That's what you say when they ask you if you let the defense down. Know what I mean? You say, well, yeah, like they only gave up, what was it, 10 points in that game. We should have won it as an offense, and we didn't. Yeah. That's what you say. Like you just go out there, have a little bit of maturity, man. Be a leader in that locker room.
Yeah, I wish we could pull Keep up here to give us his takes as a Jets fan, because it's gotta be tough. It's gotta be tough watching.
I got the Garrett Wilson quote here if you guys want to hear it. It says, it is unacceptable. No one wants to feel like this, but that's not enough. You've got to do something about it. I feel this is a wake up for some of the people in the facility, for us in the facility to get on our details. Who? He was asked as a follow-up. All of us.
Wow.
Said all of us.
That sounds like Garrett Wilson sounds like a leader of men right there. Isn't that what the quarterback should be saying sometimes?
No.
You know? Like he just goes now. And he also was like they weren't throwing the ball deep either. Well, you got to look back, man. Like the Patriots didn't put up a ton of points, but they also missed multiple field goals. It was windy, right? Like, but the Patriots got themselves in position to, I think Nick Folk missed 2 field goals. The Patriots had 300 yards. You guys had 100. So you can't even look and say, oh, they weren't moving the ball, because they were. They moved the ball 3 times as good as you guys did. You can't have 100 yards. You can't have 4 yards in the second half and then come out and say, we didn't let the defense down. The defense did everything. I mean, the defense only let up 3 points. The special teams is how the game ended, right? It was a punt return for a touchdown. So Zach Wilson, man, time to wake up, dude, because Joe Flacco is going to come back slanging, and that's going to be a lot more fun.
Joe Flacco, which I saw a stat this morning, currently still has the same amount of touchdown passes as Russell Wilson, or something crazy along those lines. And Joe Flacco hasn't played since week 3. Russell Wilson's played like every single week since then. Absurd.
That is
Joe
crazy.
Flacco lit up the Browns, dude. Like, say what you will about Joe Flacco. What if he had like 300 yards and 4 touchdowns? Elite comeback, 31-30. Like, let him ride, dude. Let him ride.
I want Joe Flacco back in that offense. I was like all about give Zach Wilson like additional chances until it was truly that one word that he said in that video that turned me against him. I was like, dude, personal accountability, like be a leader, take some responsibility. Don't just stand there and look at them and go, no, like just come on, man. How do you expect anyone on the team to like respect you as a leader? And unfortunately, whether you like it or not, when you're the quarterback of a team, you are in a leadership position and you just have to embrace it. It's part of the job. It's not just about playing football, right? Like you have to be a leader in that locker room in order for that offense to work. And Zach Wilson isn't doing what he needs to do to be a leader. And he's not doing what he needs to do on the field either. You know what I mean? Like I've seen teams rally behind a less than good quarterback because of the leadership and the attitude that they're showing, right? Like we've seen Baker Mayfield struggle and everyone on the Browns besides Odell Beckham Jr. was in his corner. Like we have seen this happen with bad quarterbacks. Zach Wilson's not winning any favors with the team, with the coaching staff, or with the fans with the way he's handling this. We've got 2 comments in the chat saying, Meat Mansion says he's like 12 anyways. And Craig over in the YouTube chat saying Zach Wilson is also like 12. He has time to hit puberty and mature. So they're all giving him a break for his age.
Jeez, dude. And then there's Tommy in the chat bringing up, we brought up Russell Wilson, dude. That tomato is just haunting. It's the tomato is looming. Although, doesn't that tie them at 3-7, Tommy? So not really a big victory lap moment that the Raiders and Broncos are both 3-7. But yes, Tommy reminding me that if the Raiders finish with a better record than the Broncos, I have to eat a tomato on the show. And
I can't wait for that. That's gonna be so fun to watch here.
Bro.
If they tie, do you guys both eat a tomato? Neither one eat a tomato, or do you eat each half a tomato?
I think you know what my vote is on that. Let's see.
No tomato.
But dude, the thing is,
my vote.
This bet has all been fraudulent. Yeah, that's why that's why we can't really put it to a vote, because I know what you two are going to vote. And the thing is, dude,
no, we had the chat. We had the audience vote. The audience is the final say always.
Oh yeah, and the audience is going to say nobody eats a tomato. Yeah, right, dude. Like Craig, Craig's your vote. No, dude.
Craig's going to vote rotten tomato.
Yeah. Meat manager, full tomato or bust, dude. Yeah, and the thing is, this is such a fraudulent thing because it turns out Tommy loves tomatoes. He's probably eating a tomato right now, laughing his ass off. He's just kicking his legs up, eating a tomato like
he's just freaking juice dripping down. He's got a white t-shirt on covered in red tomato juice dripping down his face, like laughing.
Yeah, I picture him like laughing like an evil, like like the evil witch in Snow White, like ha ha ha.
He's got like Caillou on in the background, just like cracking up over our shoulders, watching that little kid do stupid things over and over and over again with tomato juice dripping down his shirt. He says you guys are gonna have to go half like Lady and the Tramp if you tie. So you guys are each gonna put half the tomato in, and
at the expo.
At the expo, yeah, that's what's going on.
All right, yeah, I'll do that. At least then I only have to eat half a tomato.
So we got Jolly Rancher in the chat. My mom's saying, "Hooray, Coop is back!" Hooray! Every time we've been on the phone since you left, she's been like, "When's Coop coming back?" I'm like, "Mom, you can watch just for me. Like, it's okay." And she's like, well, "Yeah, I know, but like, just so I know what. Let me put it on the calendar. What day is Coop coming back?"
Yeah, now we don't have to DM fantasy advice anymore. Now that I'm back on here, she's like, "Don't tell Simon, but kind of wanted your takes on this." So, yeah.
What? Mom's going to use for fantasy advice instead of me?
Make sure to tell me that. It's going to be awkward Thanksgiving now.
My girlfriend hasn't asked me a fantasy question since like week 6, so I'm wondering if she's been texting you too for fantasy advice.
I mean, I don't want to give away any. I don't want to give away anybody's secrets,
but yes, she is. Craig in here said, "How dare you? Tomatoes alone and not cooked in food are gross. I wouldn't wish that on Coop."
I know.
Craig's on your side.
Craig.
I used to be fully aligned with Craig, just fully anti-tomato, except when it was cooked in good stuff. But they're all right now. They're still not great, but they're still all right.
Yeah, but sometimes if you get Blue Apron, sometimes there'll be a recipe, and at the very end they'll be like, "And chuck some tomatoes on top." Like that'll just be a step. Like it'll be this whole recipe, and they'll give you grape tomatoes, and like you'll do the step where you chop them, and then you're going through the whole recipe, and you're like, "I wonder when I'm going to use these. I wonder." And then at the very end, they're like, "Dip in vinegar and throw on top of your food. Good luck." Like just no additional prep with the tomatoes.
The HelloFresh ones, like every once in a while, I'll get a recipe where they just won't address some ingredient, or like they won't address like a good portion of the ingredient, and it messes with me. Like I do not handle that type of situation well, because I'm just sitting there like, How is this? Like, what do I do with this now? Like, how did they get through it? Am I missing something? Is there something I'm supposed to know that I don't know?
B-Man just says, "Blue Apron. What are you, rich?"
Wait, rich?
No, I just only eat 3 dinners a week. I just don't eat the other nights, but it's the same price as if I ate 7 dinners.
Our buddy in Providence, Meat Mansion knows him. His name's Guy. Just got finally Guy. He's a great guy. Finally got busted. Making new email addresses every time to get the promo code every time for Blue Apron, but he was just eating like $1 Blue Apron. I think he got away for like 3-4 months before they were finally
like SWAT like raid his
same
house.
address, and they
were
didn't
back the meals.
They weren't even upset. They were just like, all right, that's enough.
Settle down.
They literally were just like, you're done. Okay.
Settle down, Mr. Hacker.
There was a kid at my high school that ran a business. He called it his business at high school, where he would send fake pictures of broken OtterBoxes to OtterBox just to get them to send him a free one, because they have the lifetime warranty where all you have to do is send him a pic, and then he'd sell them for like $20 at school instead of like the 60 to 80 that they cost online. And he did this for like a year and a half. Dude must have made thousands of dollars. Everyone at the school had an OtterBox from this kid. And then he gets an email from OtterBox like, if you ever, whether legitimate or not, try to get another free case from us, we will pursue all of the finances from every case you bought from us previously, or that you tried to get from us previously. And he was like, okay.
Ooh.
And that's the end of my business venture. Like, it was a good run.
I had one going like that for a little while, where I was like grandfathered in on Xbox controllers, where I could get the warranty for like $10. And I just kept telling, when I would go there, they'd be like, oh, now it's like $30. And I'd be like, oh, no, the manager said it's 10. And then they would just like override it and give it to me. So like every time one of my buddies' controllers would break, I would just take that one and swap one out. So I had a pretty good. Meat Mansion's got a $10 controller, don't you, Meat?
Oh, don't you?
Don't say that.
Don't you, Meat Man? Yeah, Meat Mansion, one of the better names in the chat. Best controller I got, he says. Yeah, because we broke like 10 before we finally get the one that doesn't break. That's their gambit. You play 2 games of NHL.
The modding your controller, the Xbox controller back in the day.
No. Go on.
You never modded it? Oh man, like Call of Duty used to mod that stuff. But I did it real bad, where like instead of like actually cutting out a hole in the plastic, I just took the solder gun and I burned a hole into the plastic. and then I taped the little mod switch like to the controller. It was real bad, but it worked.
Hey, whatever you got to do. Guys, Adam in here in the chat said, well, boys, I started Saquon, Jefferson, and Toney for a grand total of 11.8 points. So disappointed. Now I need Kittle and Elijah Mitchell to get me 40 combined points to win this week.
Oh, no, Adam.
Adam, I feel you, man. I feel you. Saquon, just what happened? It seemed like it was if not a slam dunk matchup, it didn't seem like a tough matchup. It didn't seem like one where Saquon was going to get 22 rushing yards. Yet here we are looking at him as one of the biggest fantasy disappointments of this week, because it seemed like a slam dunk start.
I think we'll be talking about him extensively in Hogs and Logs a little later in the show.
So the thing about that too, just to throw my 2 cents out there, is that like he could easily had an amazing game if Daniel Jones and Matt Breida didn't score the rushing touchdowns. Like that's the difference maker, right? Like those could have easily been him. They called a different play.
Yeah.
I had Saquon on my Guillotine League team.
Get axed.
I'm currently, well, let me just tell you this team.
I'm so invested in your team.
I'm currently in last place, and let me read to you this freaking team. Josh Allen at quarterback, Saquon Barkley and Christian McCaffrey as my 2 running backs, Stephon Diggs, and then here's the weak point on my team, Allen Lazard. That's my weak point. Then I've got Josh Jacobs and Joe Mixon in my 2 flex spots, and George Kittle at the tight end position. I should win. This team is phenomenal. Not going so hot this week. I'm currently in last place, and I need Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle. I'm down by 3 points to outscore Deebo Samuel by 3 in order to not get eliminated. I should be good, right?
You should be all right. Famous last week.
We'll see what happens, but I'm getting nervous, man. It all comes down to Monday night. Don't you guys love a good like Monday night fantasy sweat though? Like when it does end up coming down to Monday night and you're sitting there,
nothing
and
beats it.
It's the bomb.
Sex is pretty good, but nothing beats it.
Nothing else beats it.
I just turned to Mary Antoinette. I'm like, you should be all right, dude. Head into the guillotine. Yeah, you should be fine.
Yeah, you got it. There's still plenty of time
like Mary Antoinette's lawyer. I'm like, yeah, we'll be fine here.
I think we got to do like an FYF guillotine league next year.
Oh yeah,
Let's do it.
That would be excellent.
Yeah.
Bro.
Shout out
Watch-
Paul Charchian for.
We should
And then
do
the three
X-
of us are getting
creating that
eliminated weeks 1, 2, and 3, and it's just going to be everyone else playing without us for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
We should do it. You know what we should do? We should do one with people that all have capabilities that are willing to call into the show. And when you get guillotined, you have to come on the show and do
Yeah.
something.
Yes.
So, like,
That's such a
Joe-
good idea.
You know what I mean?
What
Like the
about
week you get guillotined, you got to do something weird on the show. So we'll
Yeah, you
we
gotta
got
like come on and do like an animal noise bet or something.
something crazy. Yeah. So I know it's like Joey, Dustin will do it. Tom, we can definitely get people. So
Yeah, and you have to come on. You can't join the league unless you do it, unless you agree
Yeah.
to come on.
reach
You
out
give
to
us
us.
us
a
leverage,
chug
like your-
chocolate milk is what they have to do on air. Just come on and chug. That sounds like a
I
prize.
love chocolate milk, dude. Bro, you know how hard it is to find chocolate milk in
V8.
some of those European
You have to
countries?
drink a gallon of V8. Coop.
I kept going. Yeah, that's too much
Just
tomato.
the tomato theme. Yeah.
Me Manson goes, I just choked a bunch. Like, okay, dude.
Tommy said, "I'm in. I can do a lot of gross stuff." Cool. So your way, just keep practicing, Tommy, and then when it's time, you'll be ready to go.
Dude, there's a severe lack of chocolate milk in Europe. Like, I go to different places, I'd be like, chocolate milk, and they're just like hot chocolate. I'm like, no, that's the exact opposite of what I want right now.
You know, I've never had chocolate milk in a place where I had to ask for it. Only in a place where I can like pick it up in a bottle or make it myself. Like never once have I been somewhere where like I would have to order chocolate milk and thought, you know what I want? Chocolate milk.
So
Like
you're
it's always like going out the checkout and I see like the chocolate soy milk juice box and I'm like, yeah, let me grab one of those on the way out the door. Steal
you're
it.
with
is what I'm
breakfast.
saying.
With breakfast, I can't afford Blue Apron.
Yeah, we just bought Blue Apron. I have to steal
This is
my
my dinner
chocolate milk.
tonight.
So with breakfast, you order like a orange juice or like what do you go with? Like if you're at like a sit down breakfast place and you're gonna get like pancakes.
You're gonna judge me. Diet Coke with or water is what I order at breakfast if I'm at a
He's
restaurant.
he's not lying. That's the
Diet
truth.
Coke, dude. And then they look at you, they're like, look at this gremlin.
You drinking Diet Coke at 7 a.m. Just if you think I'm at a breakfast restaurant at 7 a.m., unless there's like a very specific reason, that's not true.
Breakfast?
That's not how it works. No,
like-
besides breakfast, like we have to be at the lake at 9 a.m. and we're getting breakfast first or something like that. You know
where-
what I mean?
This is fun. Are we doing
So-
anything fun on the lake?
Yeah, we're gonna go jet skiing, JL, and tubing.
Yes.
And tubing behind a jet ski.
Yes. We got Adam in the chat said, do I continue to hold Toney or drop to pick up Skyy Moore?
Gotta hold Toney, man. Did Skyy Moore even play that much? Dude, I'm pretty sure Skyy Moore himself only played he played less than 50% of the snaps as well. He played
He
40.
also had it in Randall Cobb, which I missed.
Tony
So Skyy
played
Moore, Toney, or Randall Cobb.
Tony played 22% of the snaps. Skyy Moore played 42%. But I don't know, man. The Toney thing is baffling to me.
Yeah.
But he did get injured yesterday, right? He left the game
Yeah.
with an injury and didn't come back. So that explains his usage. He wasn't on the field for a lot of the game. Him and Mike Williams both left those games with injuries and did not come back. But I'm with you, Coop. You got to keep holding him. Toney's the guy that I want to hold if I'm holding a receiver that's not named Juju Smith-Schuster or Marcus Valdez-Scantling on this team. And hopefully when he's fully healthy and knows his playbook a little bit better, has been here a couple more weeks, we see some big games from him because he's
Yeah,
got
it
the
was like-
talent.
It looked like a hammy injury, basically knocked him out of that first half. So, I mean, those are tough. They can linger. It'll be interesting. We'll have to keep an eye out for the news on him this week because if it comes out and it's looking worse than it should, then I would pick up Skyy Moore.
Yeah. We had another question in here. This one coming in from Big Trev. He said, what happened to Toney? So disappointed, but didn't need his points, but points for are big in a tight league. So yeah, it's the injury that knocked him out of that game, Big Trev. Not to say he would have been out there having like the world's best game, but it was a fun offensive game. We might have seen a little bit more Toney in that game had he been healthy and on the field. I was disappointed we didn't get to watch that. That was one of the things I was most excited for this week was Kadarius Toney and the return of Mike Williams. And then this game was just like, nah, you're not getting any of that.
Yeah, very glad I traded for Kadarius Toney yesterday with you, Simon. That is pretty good.
Hey, well, Cole Kmet sucked yesterday too, if that helps at all.
True. That's true. It was pretty much a dud all around.
Bro, no one will ever on Reddit be happy about where Cole Kmet is ranked. Ever. It's every week. It's like there's 10 people saying that he's ranked too high, 10 too low. Some people saying he's too medium. Like I'll never win that battle. I'll never win that battle, the Colts MAD battle. And I just wanted to say that Trev made a great point about points for, because people forget this when they're on Twitter asking me like, hey, can I get away with not starting a defense this week or like not putting a kicker in my lineup? Go and look around your leagues and look at how many teams are like, have 6 wins or 5 wins, and the only difference is the points. In just about every league, the last playoff spot goes to the points. So never leave an empty spot unless you are sure that it's hugely beneficial to you, because that stuff will come back and kill you.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. The number of times I've thought I made the playoffs, then go and check, and I'm down by 5 points in points for, and I'm like, oh, guess that week 7 accidentally leaving my tight end spot blank came back to bite me.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that is a good point. I don't know if you guys saw this yesterday, but the Colts mascot.
Ooh.
Did you guys see this Colts mascot make a move during the touchdown celebration?
He got a little frisky out there, didn't he?
A little frisky against the Eagles. I think Keith has the video for us.
Please.
So let's get that rolling, because I need to see that again bright and early this morning.
Takes it in, touchdown.
Oh boy! Look.
And it's, dude, the crazy part is it's not even a Colts touchdown.
It's an Eagles touchdown.
No, that's what I mean. Like, he's fully sitting. He's just mad, man. That's such a hilarious way to do it.
Dude, you don't like to stand there and gyrate when you get furiously angry. Like when something goes not your way, you're not out there just like full hip thrust.
What I want to know is, was this like spontaneous? Like it happened and he's just like, I'm going for it, or was he like, if they score this right now, I am totally gonna hump the air when they score.
The bounce on that belly, that bounce. You know what happened? Jeff Saturday coached him up on that move. That's one that Jeff Saturday's been practicing.
That's got Jeff Saturday written all over.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, oh yeah, that's a Jeff Saturday special right there. He said, hey, what's that horse's name? Anyone know?
No, I have no idea.
Hey, Dave,
Randy,
or whatever the hell your name is, get on over here. I got a move to show you. My name's Jeff Saturday, and this is the Saturday Shuffle.
You know what mascot always gets away with weird stuff like that? Like the only mascot that can
if you say Blitz,
no,
I'm sending you back to Europe.
That's constantly doing weird stuff like that, and everyone seems to be okay with it, is the Philly Fanatic. The Philly Fanatic is nonstop doing that. He's got like a tongue that shoots out, right? Like, and he's always doing like hump moves like that, and everyone's like, "Oh, Philly!" But like, dude, it's like traumatizing for kids watching the Philly Fanatic do his thing.
And then yeah, horse does it one time. The Colts horse, that's his official name, and we're over here talking about it on air. Philly Fanatic's just like running around, like, yeah, no problem. His pants are off. He's running around. And Tommy said it's because he is tame in Philly. Is the Philly Fanatic is just a tame average fan in Philly.
Blue is his name. The Colts.
The horse? Oh.
Yeah, horse.
I'm gonna name him Dave. I think he
Dave
looks
better.
more like a Dave.
He actually does kind of look like a Dave.
Yeah. He's got Dave-like qualities.
Right? A Dave-like quality or two. Guys, yesterday, Cordarrelle Patterson set the record
Big boy.
for kickoff return touchdowns with his 9th of his career, 103 yards from the end zone. He now has the most kickoff return TDs in NFL history. I said this yesterday, but watching that game, when he lined up in the end zone, like I just looked up, like I was kind of like working on some other stuff. When I looked up, I saw him lined up back there. They're talking about him like he just had the fumble. He just had this stance where I was like, oh, he's housing this. Like he had this pose where he was like, no matter what happened, he was taking that to the house. I almost just dropped an F-bomb at like 7:30 a.m. because that was the look in his eyes.
You know what? Like, Cordarrelle Patterson deserves it. For his career,
he was
gone,
kicking up dust like a bull, ready to charge, just like
exactly. You might as well have been back there. It was awesome to watch.
We had our pregame with FYF show right before the start, game time. The game started at 1, and then it was like immediate. And we had talked about Cordarrelle Patterson so much during that morning show because people kept asking about him, and then he just comes out and immediately gets a 100-yard return.
You know, that actually disappoints me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, because I play in this league called Draft with Giants that does double points for return yards. So it's literally 1 point for every 10 yards for regular yards. It's 1 point for 5 yards return yards. Like the number one player in the league last year was like Tony Pollard. And Cordarrelle Patterson before the season said he was going to keep returning kicks until he broke that record. And I really, really need him to keep returning kicks, even though he has. So please, Cordarrelle, you know what's cooler than 9 touchdowns?
Ice cold.
What's cooler than being the best?
Sorry, I always mess that one up. I thought I had it this time.
I need Josh Cribbs or Leon Washington to come out of retirement and run one more back just to put Cordarrelle back on his game, because I can't have him sitting back right now, dude, not going to the playoffs. So Cordarrelle, please.
Josh Cribbs is one of those names. Every time they say it on the broadcast, I'm like, whoa! It feels like I got put in a time machine for some reason. Like that name just like throws me back, like 100%. Josh Cribbs, because there were such strong emotions with Cribbs as well, right? And then they say the name just casually, and you're like, whoa! You're just gonna like skate over the legend that was Josh Cribbs.
Browns, never forget.
And I think he probably like the name stands out because he was like prominently featured in that episode of The League, right? The one where I think Kroll's like doing Make-A-Wish and he's trying to like convince the kid that they want Josh Cribbs to return a touchdown or something like that. Awful stuff going on in that show.
Truly awful
stuff. But man, it was cool watching Patterson break that record. Coop, I apologize that it has now ruined the rest of your season in that league.
I'm pretty upset, but I'm pretty happy for him. Good dude. Obviously, Patriots legend, Cordarrelle Patterson. So go Pats.
Yeah, he's a good dude. I'm glad to see him just having this like second half of his season. What do you call that? I don't know what word. I was gonna say Renaissance. Is Renaissance right? I was gonna say Renaissance, but I was like,
yeah. No, the other thing that's people do. The other thing that people. The other thing that people might not realize, Simon, take it from here. So like before they changed the kickoff rules and made it harder to like have big returns, he was like right there for the average all-time average return yards for kicks. Like he was right there. The number one guy, he was number 2. I think he's number 3 now, so he's still right there. But like it was going back and forth between him and Gale Sayers. That's how good this guy is at returning kicks. Gale Sayers is the number 1 all-time average yards per return at like 30, and he's at like 29. And like then they changed the rules, and we knew he wasn't gonna take that record, but that's how good this guy is. It's not just touchdowns. Like this guy is he has a knack for returning kicks. Gale Sayers, yeah. That's like a ghost name. You know, that's not even like a real person.
If you Google him, half the pictures come up in black and white. Yeah. Like that's what happens when you Google Gale Sayers.
Oh, he's a legend.
Yeah. What is it about a player like? Because I feel like there's players with skill sets that you would think would make them great return men, but like there's obviously something specific. Do you think it's more mental? Like a lot of players have the physical capabilities, and there's like a mental aspect to being able to navigate that, because some guys just get it. Like some guys are just able to do it.
I think it's like when you watch guys like Devin Hester, it's like Neo, like staring into the numbers, into the matrix, right? And he just sees it. Because like Devin Hester, sometimes he would just go and he'd be gone. And then sometimes he would just kind of like tool around and wait for like the spot, and then he would go. But like it's like you have to like see the wave, because you have to see blocks coming way before they come. I don't know, man. It's pretty crazy. It's crazy.
It's pretty crazy.
Pretty crazy. Another big news item yesterday, guys, after the games was Commanders plan to start Taylor Heineke moving forward. So Carson Wentz getting the big old bench, old Little Red Riding bench.
Did you see the interview with Ron Rivera where they were asking him about it at the press conference? Did you watch that? Because he was just not having it. They were like, so like, how did that conversation with Carson go? He was like, good.
Yeah. That one got me. He's like, good.
And they're like, no, but like, how did Carson take? And they're like, they're following up. Like, how did Carson take it? You know, really good.
Really good. They're like, you're like, what is Taylor doing that Carson isn't? He's like, winning.
That was the best. What can you say to that though? Like, that's the answer.
But it's so funny. I'm just like watching these. And I'm like, man, they really like these NFL coaches have just approached these press conferences with like zero good faith. Like it's all just sitting there trying to give you like the least amount of information.
Bill Belichick set the tone, dude.
They did.
And then there's Jerry Jones, like kept being like, you know, we're gonna come out on the first play and run a dive. Like, he's just giving you information. Like 4 months before the season, he's like, I don't think Michael Gallup's gonna be ready to go. It's like, okay, you didn't have to tell us that, but thank you. Like, thanks, Jerry. Talk to you next week.
How does this change? How does this affect the Washington guys for you? Are you guys adjusting your strategy going forward at all?
No.
Good news for Terry McLaurin. He loves Terry.
Yeah, he does love Terry.
And we'll see. I mean, I don't think his leash is wildly long there. Know what I mean? Like, this is a situation where he's got the starting job now. But if things turn bad, we could see Carson Wentz back in here. Like, that wouldn't shock me at all. Taylor Heineke's got the job until he sucks, and then they'll switch.
And it's not like a drastic change in play styles.
No.
Right? Like, if you picture, like, if Jalen Hurts were to get hurt and Gardner Minshew would have become the QB, that's such a huge change in play styles that we would have to sit down and be like, here's what's probably going to change. With this QB change, I don't think much changes. Do you?
Yeah. No, I mean, from Jalen Hurts to Gardner, they got to replace all the beers on the plane, from Bud Lights to Keystone Lights. And, like, that's going to take at least an hour to get that done. But I think you're right. I think both Taylor Heineke and Carson Wentz are both Rolling Rock guys. So they don't have to change a single thing for them.
Who the hell is a Rolling Rock guy, though? Honestly,
Taylor Heineke and Carson Wentz.
I'm not kidding.
He just told you.
I have a pretty illustrious beer drinking career, and I don't think I've ever like you with chocolate milk. I don't think I've ever on purpose ordered a Rolling Rock. If I ever drank a Rolling Rock, it was handed it to me, and then halfway through the beer, I looked down and I was like, "What is this?"
This isn't a Heineke.
Meat Mansion said, "I live Rolling Rock."
I live Rolling Rock. Rolling Rock is me.
I know for a fact you don't drink Rolling Rock. We don't even have Rolling Rock out here. Like,
Tim and I used to go to a trivia night where they would do 50-cent slices and $1 Rolling Rock pitchers, and that's the only time I would drink Rolling Rock because it was $1. How do I turn down a $1 pitcher of beer? I don't care if it's half beer, half piss. I'll probably have it for $1. Right? Like, you could just go ahead and say, like, yeah, this is mostly beer, but for $1, I'll take it.
I see Squirrel Bob in the chat said, "Morning, mates. Morning,
Squirrel Bob. Welcome in. Glad to have you here."
I know I brought up John Boyce a bunch of times on the show, my love for him, but he had a hilarious tweet during the games yesterday. He said, at halftime, the Texans offense is averaging 8.6 inches per play. And he said, so if you happen to be reading this on a laptop, that's probably around this much, I guess.
That's insane, bro.
That's pretty funny. He got him. Man, that's brutal for the Texans.
8.6 inches per play.
That's roughly the same as what the Jets had in the second half. Actually, they probably had I think they had 4 yards or whatever in the second half. So could have been even worse.
Didn't they have negative passing yards in the second half, the Jets? Did I see that stat somewhere? I may be pulling that out of nowhere. Maybe it was in a dream as I was like sitting there and just watching Zach Wilson go, no, and then negative 21 passing yards phases across the screen.
No.
Hate when that happens. I mean, we have the capability to look that up, so I'll just look that up and see if it's true.
Yeah. Guys, I don't know if you realize this, but the Detroit Lions, this comes from Andrew Siciliano. You know him. He watches all the games. He's there live. But they have won 3 in a row for the first time in 5 years. In 5 years, the Lions have not won 3 games in a row, and they just did it. And that puts them in second in the NFC North. The Lions are currently in second place at 4-6, ahead of the Packers at 4-7 in the NFC North standings. I wouldn't quite call them in the playoff hunt, but they're sitting there in second place in their division and coming off 3 wins in a row. It's probably going to come crashing down, right, guys? Or do you think they're going to keep it up? I guess if we look at their next couple games, they've got – do you think they'll keep it up next week against the Buffalo Bills?
No.
I hope so. I sure hope so.
That would be chaos, and I would want it.
Boy. Yeah, I mean, this schedule – I mean, they can beat the Jags. They're probably not going to beat the Vikings, depending if this week's Vikings show up. They could. They got winnable games on here, man. They could really ruin their draft pick. Like, obviously,
Dan Campbell could really just make his job a lot harder down the stretch of this season if he has to keep working with Jared Goff instead of
because that's what happens.
Anybody else?
They're 4-6.
Anybody else?
they do feel like it does feel like the Lions, even though they are a weak team this year. Like there's no doubt about it. It feels like they're trending in a positive direction from like a just franchise building perspective.
The winning culture, as Meat Mansion likes to say, has turned into a little bit of actual winning. Crazy.
Yeah. Heck,
Crazy,
crazy how that happens, huh?
Squirrel Pop wants to know chances that Lions and Jets make the playoffs. Coop, what chance would you give each of these teams to make the playoffs?
The Jets, I would give them. Let's see. I actually have up 538 right now, so I could just.
Damn it!
give you the
Beat me
exact
to it.
percentage.
I was
But,
planning
dude,
to do that.
As crazy as
Nate Silver.
as crazy as it sounds, they actually give the Jets the Jets actually have a pretty good record. So the Jets have a 46% chance to make the playoffs, according to.
I believe it.
They're 6-4. They're 6-4. So.
Oh, and that's going to skyrocket when Joe Flacco gets back on the field.
Right. The Lions have a 12% chance. So not great, Bob.
Honestly, that was higher than I thought you were going to say for the Lions. 12% seems aggressive, but you did just say like they've got a lot of winnable games on the stretch here.
The Packers, it gives the Lions a 12% chance and the Packers a 6% chance. They're giving the Lions a better odds of making the playoffs than the Packers.
Yikes.
I just threw the link to 538's NFL predictions in the chat because this is it's a great resource. They have a bunch of good data in here from some of the top data scientists in the game. So highly recommend. This is a really useful resource that Coop and I just were talking about.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the Lions and the Packers playing in week 18 for the last wild card spot and Jared Goff and Dan Campbell lead the Lions to knock Aaron Rodgers out of the playoffs to snag that last wild card spot? That's the story I'm rooting for now.
You can't retire if you're Aaron Rodgers. You can't.
No. Not on a loss to the Lions to miss the playoffs. You would have to play again, right? You got to come back.
There's no chance. There's no chance.
Not a chance in hell. Big Trev in the chat said Amari Cooper had a good game at a neutral site, and DPJ finally found the end zone. Who's got a better outlook for the playoffs? DPJ or Amari Cooper?
So my heart says Amari Cooper, but I will say this. I had a talk with John and Pemba yesterday on the Fantasy Alarm show before the games, and DPJ's profile does translate pretty well to what Deshaun Watson does, right? As a guy that Deshaun Watson is the guy that runs for a lot of yards, but he extends the plays. So, think about deep. Right, exactly. Like Russell Wilson finding Tyler Lockett or like these guys that can scramble around, man. Sometimes that translates to pretty big plays. But anytime it's an unknown like this, I'm going to go with the guy I think is better in a vacuum. And that's Amari Cooper. So I'm still going to go Amari Cooper, but I think both could potentially be productive if Watson is Watson. And say what you will about him, his character, he's obviously a loser, but he is an amazing football player when he plays. Top 5.
That's every single great point, Coop. That's what we're talking about here is from fantasy and what effect he's going to have on these players. And the dude knows how to ball. The dude has never done anything but ball whenever he's been out on the field.
Yeah,
it doesn't even matter.
Few quarterbacks in this league, I think, have the type of grit that he does in terms of just on the field. He's been forged in the fire. He's been in some, like many of the highest stakes football situations that you can be going on back to college. So he's absolutely, I have so little doubt that he's going to come back and just ball out because we've seen it his entire career, college career, professional career. It's just good.
For fantasy, it's like the last time he played, the team went 4-12. He threw for almost 5,000 yards, 33 touchdowns, and only 7 picks. Like, how bad is the rest of that team if your quarterback's throwing, having a Pro Bowl year, throwing for 5,000, 33-7, and you only win 4 games? Like,
absurd.
In this situation, he could be very good.
I think people are sleeping on DPJ a little bit. I see him getting some respect. You know what I mean? Like, can I start him? That's the wrong question. We're past that point with Donovan Peoples-Jones. He's an every week you can start him kind of player. What we're getting to is when Deshaun Watson comes back, to your point, does he have wide receiver 2 upside? Like could DPJ be a top 24 wide receiver? And I think the answer is yes. Like, I think we're beyond just, should I start him over this guy? Should I start him over Darnell Mooney? Like, I think he's elevating himself past that.
Remember how Will Fuller, how everybody was so hyped on Will Fuller, how good Will Fuller was with Deshaun Watson? A lot of that has to do with this. Yeah, this is exactly what you're talking about. So I think he could be elevated that high up. I'd be trying to get both of these guys. I am trying to get both of these guys in every league I'm in because I do think it's going to regardless, they're going to be better than they are now.
You can pry Amari Cooper from my cold, dead hands in our dynasty leagues, JL. He's not going anywhere.
That's fine.
He's the heart and soul of my team.
I don't want that old ass in dynasty.
Hey, you ageist. You ageist,
He's my
JL. I love if you look at my teams, it's just full of 28-year-old wide receivers. Yeah. My entire team is just like 28 and 29-year-old wide receivers because that's where the value is, baby. No one wants them.
It's also technically the age apex is technically like 27, 28 for wide receivers.
Suck it, JL. You can take your Jalen Waddles. I'll take my Mike Evans and my
he's already past 27.
You're past 27.
And he's been playing earlier because Amari Cooper came into the league early.
Take your facts and forget about him.
Listen to this. Listen to this stat. Ready? Marvin Harrison, at age 27, he had his first 1,000-yard season. He had the first time he had over 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. He had 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns for the next 8 seasons in a row. from age 27 on, like absurdity. So I mean,
Cordarrelle Patterson.
Maybe Amari Cooper's just getting started.
Maybe.
Oh, Coop, you just got me like worked up this morning by saying that. Guys, coming up, we are going to play some Fast Guy Quick Time, and then we've got a Monday Night Football prop bet draft for you as well. We'll be playing some Fantasy Feud a little bit later, and then it's Monday, which means we got to talk some Hogs and some Logs from this weekend's games. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Better Sports Live with Lisa Ann and Rick Kamla. Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific.
Obviously, you've got a couple identities here, right? And so, Lisa Ann's here. Let's talk sports. Let's talk fantasy. What about my team? What do you think about my team? Like, that's dope, man. Like that brand you have built here is huge. And over in Switzerland, you're a big deal in Switzerland. Of course you are.
In Europe, all over Europe. But when I was at the Jersey show like 2 or 3 weekends ago, my security was shocked because every other guy legit handed me his phone and said, "Yo, Lise, can you check my lineup? Can you look on the waiver wire? I got bye weeks coming up." You're right. It's really neat how my worlds have become just this synergy between, me being me and then me reaching out to all of these different people and having this common ground that now it's like we're kind of bros when we talk about sports, right? We're just friends. We're all sharing the same like heartbreak or pain. Sports is the international language.
Lunch Money with Kyle and Ray. Weekdays at noon Eastern, presented by FantasyGuru.com.
Probably every team knows that inking starting pitchers to big deals and big money agreements is bad business. But that's the business they're in. What else are they going to do? That's what it costs to play the game. And all these pitchers realize it. I'd like to sit here and say, well, you should develop your own pitching. You should never pay these guys $25 million a year. But Ray, I don't think teams can do that. It's like the pitchers have a lot of power despite their weaknesses and despite their fragility. They still have so much control over the purse strings of these teams and these GMs and these owners. They don't care, Ray. They're seeing the same numbers we are. They know Jake DeGrom, if they sign him, you pray for 130 innings. Every team knows that, Ray. They may say something different, but they know what's going on. And Ray, it won't stop them. I mean, what do you think DeGrom gets in free agency this year?
I think he'll get 4 or 5 years, and he'll get 35 a year each, right? Paying $20 million for Drew Smyly is stupid. Paying $200 million for DeGrom is idiotic, in my opinion. Jacob DeGrom has had 14 injuries the last 2 years. Like, every part of his body, it's just, and he's phenomenal. But you can't be locked in. If DeGrom makes 25 starts, 26 starts, if he throws 150 innings, you could win your division. You could win the World Series. I get it. But if he does the other thing, which is what he's done the last couple of years, your team is so hamstrung. Unless you're one of like 2 or 3 teams, you can't spend your way out of that.
However you're invested in sports, from betting to fantasy, collectibles, and more, join our community on Better Sports Network.
Yeehaw! y'all. Welcome back into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. Oh, we got old Tommy Coop back in the building.
Yep,
we are hitting all the classics today. We started off with Four-Eyed Grimace. We got some Yip Skiddly Doos. Coop, what's your name in that portrait?
Is it about time? It's
about damn time.
The finger trapping. I've just been out finger trapping people across Europe. Is there a weirder move you could do to a stranger in a foreign country than get them locked up in a finger trap?
Nope.
I don't know. Approach them with a finger trap on your wiener is probably weirder than just putting it on their finger. They'd be like, you'd be like, this is normal wear in America. This is just what we wear over there. It's so hot right now.
You want to see
committing sex crimes in Europe?
Yeah. Perfect.
Guys,
in the chat, Jeff Johnson had a question before we went to break. I want to make sure we hit on it. He said, "What do you think about Lamar going forward?"
Lamar's Lamar. I know he's been a little bit disappointing recently, but disappointing is still very startable for fantasy, right? He was dealing with an illness this weekend, wasn't he? But he played through it. I wouldn't be too concerned. I know he hasn't been the top 3 guy that you drafted him to be, but he still can be. In any given week, that dude can turn it on. So you're still starting Lamar every single week.
Yep, I'm with you.
It's just today, like this week, reminds you, like just the rushing touch. You've run for 30 yards and a touchdown. That's almost 10 points alone. Like it's a beautiful floor for him. He just needs to get back to what he was doing early on. I mean, they were talking him MVP through the first 3 weeks, right? And then seriously cooled off, but we know he's capable of that.
Right. 100% fully capable of that. Guys, we are going to get into a Monday Night Football prop bet draft. So guys, get your sportsbook pulled up, get those props in front of you, and we are going to take turns drafting props from this game. Before we do that, though, we got Joey Wright joining us real quick.
What's going on, guys? Ready for my morning?
Oh, this is awkward.
Yeah, this is really awkward.
Did we forget to tell Joey Coop was back, Joe?
I think we did that on purpose to send him a message, and it doesn't look like it. You got it.
Oh shoot. Oh.
Hey, Joe. Take a seat.
Take a knee, sport.
Yeah, I got something to talk to you about, Squirt. You're not on the show anymore, buddy.
But you are part of the show.
It's us. It's Simon. Simon made the decision, wasn't me. It was him.
It's like the second time Simon's done this to me this year. So
yeah.
Well, Coop,
well, I've been meaning to ask you guys, like, so since I tuned in a bunch, watched a bunch of the show with both Joey and Jay. Thank you guys so much for filling in. Like, so now I have the green light to just kind of take a day off whenever I want now, right? That's
yeah, that works.
Because I mean, it went well, right?
I texted JL and Simon. I was like, guys, I had so much fun this week. If there's ever anyone you need to fill in, just let me know. And they're like, we're good. I was like, oh, okay.
He said thanks.
I was actually on a separate text chain where they went out of their way to ask.
We screenshotted it
to ask G-Man Jay to fill in like every time.
Well, that's not true.
Suck it, Jay. Jay's like, I'll accept all the shade. That's where I do.
Yeah.
Coop, I'm glad to see you back. I missed you a lot. I love filling in on every one of your shows that you were normally on.
I know. What are you doing? You going on the back and stuff?
I was
like, when you were filling on this show, I was like, oh yeah, cool. You know, he's for fantasy. And then I was like, wait a second, is this dude sliding in? Right?
Yeah.
Slowly trying to just like become you. Pretty soon you're gonna come home and he's gonna have his arm around your wife.
No, I was just about to say I woke up in Prague one night and I like looked out the window and I thought I saw Joey there. But I
don't know. you just hear a giggle in like the empty, foggy streets.
It was actually a Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Coop, we're glad to see you back. I'm gonna go spend the day with my daughter. And you guys have a great day.
You
have
too.
so much fun. See you later,
Bye.
Thanks for coming on, my man.
See, that's the more fun way to do it. The way Joey did. Call in 10 minutes in and out, go do whatever you want all day. That's what it was like in Europe.
Call in for 10 minutes and then get walk around Europe for 8 hours and then go to bed. Call it a
Who's like, why have I been doing this for 3 hours every morning? I could just spend 10 minutes.
I feel like, I mean, it's only been an hour. Jeez. Yeah, but no, It was interesting. It was a lot more difficult to write my articles and stuff. I kept doing that while I was out there. Yeah, not as easy as just popping in for a quick show. But I don't know. I like being back. I like being on the show.
We like having you back. And Coop, you're just in time. JL still has yet to lose a single one of these player prop drafts. He has come in first place.
Today's the day.
I crushed one.
Every single one, didn't he?
No, I crushed one. I got all three right the last one before I left.
Oh, I think I did have to do an impersonation once.
Okay. You know what, JL? Now you can take all that pressure off of you. You've been living with this pressure that you don't lose. Check the tape, Keith.
I've been on the street, though.
Roll the tape.
Right. It was the one where Derrick Henry's over under against the Texans was 100 yards and he got 200. Remember that week?
Oh,
I called in briefly to be like, who won that week? But I mean, I wasn't around for the impressions there, so I guess we could say that one doesn't count.
We gotta.
I think we paid it out. I think Simon and I paid it out.
He's been built up. He's been winning all of these, and he's starting to feel untouchable, Coop. So we got to take him down.
No, I'm starting to feel very touchable because I know it's coming. I'm starting to feel very vulnerable. That
If JL wins this week, we should really capitalize this and put all his picks behind the paywall of some kind.
Yes.
Just
for
imagine
me, I have to pay for my own picks.
Or we do this draft, but then we like blur out yours, and then people have to pay for them separately. That would be good. That would be good radio, right?
Yeah,
100%. Guys, I'm pulling a classic switcheroo on you. And you know what? It makes sense for this game. Before we get into our Monday Night Football prop bet draft, we got something else very important we got to do. We got to play some fast guy quick time to welcome Coop back to the States. This is the game that just keeps you on your toes. All you have to do is answer the questions as fast as you can. No thinking, first word or answer that comes to your mind. We'll ask you a series of these questions. And again, the only rule, no thinking, just answering. Coop, we've been waiting for you. We've been prepping these questions since you left. Since the day you left, we've been prepping these. And I think we're ready to get into it. But John Luke, I think you should start today. You're usually going third. I think we should get JL in for some fast guy quick time up first today. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. I don't know why I groaned because I love this game.
You
love
this game.
I got to play again. Okay.
Okay. JL, you ready? No thinking, just answer.
Yeah, I'm ready.
3, 2, 1. Who was your first best friend?
Frankie.
Worst form of exercise?
Running.
Bug that looks the tastiest?
Cricket.
Favorite novel?
Dr. Zhivago.
Something that isn't edible that should be?
Cricket again.
Grass.
Most average candy bar?
Good bar.
The funniest sex position?
Upside down.
Celebrity who definitely plays chess?
Robert Downey Jr.
Favorite Pokemon?
Pikachu.
Your stripper name?
Pikachu.
Favorite fanciest place you've ever farted?
A wedding.
The sexiest cartoon animal?
Bugs Bunny's girlfriend. I forget her name right now.
Lola Bunny.
Thank
JL
you.
coming in with a Lola Bunny at the end right there.
You crushed that one, dude.
Oh,
I thought that was good.
Ooh,
nice work,
gosh.
You
that one, I feel like you need like a couple round. Like it's hard to like start it. I feel like if I did it again, I would be even quicker. Like we gotta do consecutive rounds. Yeah.
Nothing better than like telling somebody they're going to do prop bets and then being like, all right, let's just shoot rapid fire questions instead.
It's all part of the plan.
Really catching the back foot.
All
right, Simon, you want to go next?
I want to go next.
All right. Are you ready?
Yes, I am ready.
All right, Simon. What is your favorite ice cream topping?
Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
After a long wait, what feels better, peeing or pooping?
Peeing.
What's your earliest memory?
My earliest memory is a meatball.
Song you listen to motivate yourself?
Coconuts.
Last time you got played?
Whenever my girlfriend tricked me into getting a flu shot.
Favorite potato chip?
A salt and vinegar, not kettle cooked, overrated.
What's your safe space?
My bathroom.
Favorite martial arts weapon?
Nunchucks, without a doubt.
Football player you would name your kid after?
Darren Waller.
Thing you were terrified of when you were a kid?
Dogs.
Greatest TV show of all time?
Big Brother.
Person you like to punch in the face for no reason other than looks?
Zach Wilson.
Favorite excuse?
My dog died.
Well done. God, that is hard. That's a tough. Can't use that one very often.
First thing you remember is meatball.
Meatball.
Also, what song is Coconut?
You don't want to know. It's terrible. It goes, my coconuts. You can put them in your mouth. That's how the song goes. And it is just stuck in my head. It's been there for like 3 weeks and I can't get it out.
Coconuts.
I've been trying to like the exposure therapy route to getting it out of my head. Know what I mean? Where like I tried not listening to it. It didn't work. So I've tried like only listening to it to like get sick of it. And it hasn't worked yet. It's just stuck in there more. I can't stop. Meatball, if we're being honest, no idea.
Meatball coconut. I thought you were just going to go round objects through and through.
Bocce ball.
I'm so not ready for this. Like 3 weeks off.
That's the perfect time to play, Coop. That's the perfect state of mind to be in. You ready?
Yeah. No. Wait, no.
Favorite place in Europe?
Bruges.
Phrase you learned in Europe?
Damelo.
What's your toxic trait?
Talking over people on podcasts.
What would be the name of your pet raccoon?
Scooter.
Favorite comedian?
Bill Burr.
Place that makes you want to drink?
Europe.
What disgusts you?
Europe.
What is your family recipe?
Goulash.
What would you never do?
Cheat on my wife.
What is your favorite scent? Quick.
Vanilla.
Weird place you vomited?
Europe.
Person you think needs a hug?
Simon and JL. Joey Wright, actually.
The last person you gave the middle finger to?
Joey Wright.
What's something your wife does that annoys you?
Joey Wright.
Sleeps on the train when it's beautiful outside. Joey Wright. Joey Wright. That should have been it right there.
Damn it, Simon. Well done, Coop. Well done.
She was sleeping on the train.
Dude, she slept for like she slept for like 2 out of 8 hours on the Switzerland train.
25% of that trip.
Dude, the craziest part about one of those sleeps though is that I was right about to call you guys, and she just and I think I told you guys this. She just fell asleep, and then right as she fell asleep, but not before, not like she planned it. We went into a tunnel, and it was like a 30-minute tunnel. So she slept through the entire tunnel. I sat there watching you guys, like waiting for us to get out of the tunnel so I could call you. And then by the time we got out of the tunnel, we were at the stop. It was just like, that's why I was so mad at her, dude. It's like she slept through the worst part of the trip. I was all by myself, like using data, like just unbelievable.
He's using all my data. Oh, Coop, sounds like this is still bugging you.
It is, dude. Yeah, it is. You guys really touched a nerve with these questions.
Coop, I get the train one though. Like I get it. I remember I was on a train with my coworker. It wasn't even like my wife or fiance or girlfriend or even like a close friend. It was an acquaintance. And we were on the train in China, like going through rural China to this. And I was like, dude, why are you sleeping? Like we're on a train going almost 200 miles per hour, flying through a part of the world that I know you've never seen before, man. Like you've seen not a second of this in your life. You haven't even Googled China. Like I know that. I'm positive of it. And you're just not even going to look out the window. You're just going to snooze while listening to like Top Gear on your iPhone instead of looking out the train window.
Insane.
Travis.
Disrespectful.
Dude,
Travis.
That was Kate. That was Kate too. And I kept like waking her up and being like, look at that house. And she'd be like, it looks
like,
just like every other house. It was like,
Yeah.
I was waking about a spite. I'm like, look, there's more cows.
He's like, look up on that cliff. He's like, that guy just lives on that cliff. He drops his phone, it just slides down the cliff.
She's like, you said that every hour on the hour.
Coop spends his entire time looking for the phones falling. He's like, I know someone drops it. At least once every 10 minutes, a phone goes down that day. Like, I'm positive of it.
I
like Scooter count sounds cute. Your pet raccoon.
That was a good answer.
That's a good answer, yeah.
Goody raccoon. I actually I didn't throw up in Europe. I can't. What was the throwing up question?
The last place weirdest.
It was weirdest place or weird place you've thrown up, right? That was what you asked.
I actually don't really throw up that often. One time I did throw up during a football game though.
Weird place you vomited.
So on a football field would probably be the real answer to that.
Yeah.
During a game.
It happens. Sometimes your competitive drive outweighs your physical capabilities, and then vomit comes out.
That's like
the
a totally
formula.
normal, I think, totally normal thing in a lot of like football. Like my brother used to play at Maryland. He said people throw up all the time,
Growing up,
especially with practices
I
and
think
stuff.
it's
He's like,
the nerves and stuff. Yeah. Well,
oh yeah, and they're just like, you know, a lot of times out there in the heat doing like 2 or 3 a days, and it's just a lot.
the practice throw up is different than the throw up that I would typically do. The throwing up because it's too hot is like that's dangerous.
Yeah, or like just like you overexert yourself. I've definitely gotten close. I've definitely gotten close in a few basketball games or football games, baseball games. Maria said into my sweater. She's not lying.
One of
That's a true
these?
story. Yeah, like I think the story was she was in college and they were getting driven home. So she's in the back seat and they got pulled over. And so I think she was underage, dude. She's like, don't do it. Like constantly, like, don't do it. And she's just like, and then just like held it there in her sweater.
I was actually just about to say like throwing up anywhere else except inside your shirt is probably better than throwing up in your shirt. But in that particular situation, she might have did the right thing.
Yeah.
But that's one of the very, very few.
That is a weird place.
Pretty much every other time you just let that fly outside of your clothes, right?
Yeah, not in your sweater. I feel like if you're on a plane and you got nowhere to put it, or like anywhere where you can't put it somewhere, go.
Oh, a plane, you got a bag. That's the best part about airplanes. Is there's always a place to vomit.
That's the best part.
No, the best part about
you and you're not expecting it. And like, do you always know where that bag is? Because I looked on Southwest the other day when I felt like I was gonna throw up on a plane. Not there. I had to ask the lady.
Yikes.
Yeah.
My girlfriend and I got into an Uber one time, and I was sitting back there and like, that's the number one rule. Don't puke in an Uber. And if you're gonna puke, you gotta wait. But we get in there, we're about 5 minutes into the drive, and I'm like, oh no. And it just goes, and I'm sitting there, and we've got 17 minutes left in the Uber. And my plan is, well, I guess I'm just gonna sit here like a freaking chipmunk with my cheeks full of vomit for the next 17 minutes. And I'm just sitting back there like fully inflated. And I see the Uber driver look in her rearview mirror, and then she just hands back an airplane vomit bag, doesn't say a word. And I was like, oh, you saint. And I kept waiting for the bill to come in, but I didn't get a drop anywhere. And she saved my life. Shout out that Uber driver. She knew what was up.
Maria came in here clarifying, saying, I folded it onto my lap and vomited into it. It wasn't on me. Then I threw the sweater into a bush where Simon was probably eating pizza.
And then I grabbed a pizza that had some chunks on it for some reason.
Sweater on it.
I love that pizza bush. I hate when I get vomit sweaters on my pizza bush. My bush pizza.
That sounds so weird.
That's a brand new sentence.
That's a brand new sentence. Never been said before, ever.
As it is time to get into our Monday Night Football prop bet draft. We are going to be drafting individual prop bets from tonight's game. 3 rounds. Whoever gets the most correct is going to win. The other 2 have to pay out a impression bet. And guys, I think the conversations have been a little weird. Here's what I propose. The next question that comes in, you have to answer fully, like multiple sentences in the impression that was given to you. Same with the other person. Like you're both answering the question. You have to give your full answer, but it has to be in the impression that was chosen. What do you guys think of that?
I'm down to try it. Sounds
down to try it. We can try that this time. Coop, welcome back. I'm going to let you choose. Do you want to go first, second, or third in today's draft? It is a snake draft.
And how many rounds? We're doing 3.
3 rounds.
Well, in that case, first is by far the best option.
Coop wants to go first. JL, do you want to go second or third?
I will go third.
JL going to go third, and I guess that puts me right in the middle. Coop, you're up first. Any player prop you want from this game, the world is your oyster.
Okay. I am going to take James Conner over. I'm seeing 49.5 and 50.5 rushing yards. So I'm going to take over 49.5 rushing yards here.
James Conner over 49.5 rushing yards tonight.
That's the one I want.
Give me the confidence in James Conner. I guess 49.5 isn't even that high of a total for rushing yards, but you think he's got it in him?
I think he does, dude. I think he does. I mean, they cut Benjamin. I think even if they go like he's hit it he's hit it 3 out of the last 4 games. They gave him 21 carries last time around. So I think that unless they go way behind early, I think he's a pretty safe bet for that.
And if you tonight we got the 49ers and the Arizona Cardinals playing. The total is set at 43. The Arizona Cardinals are favored by, or I'm sorry, the Arizona Cardinals are not the favorites. They are the underdogs by 8.5 points. Just to
It's a big
level set
dog,
there.
big dog line, but
Dog.
I can see that number moving if Kyler Murray is good to go. Although Vegas seems to always know what's going to happen. Vegas already knows, I feel like, who's playing quarterback. They always do, right? Like they know
Yeah.
well in advance.
They got the meats.
They get it right. Yeah, they got all the meats. I guess that makes me up next in this draft, right?
It
That's
does.
100% what happens here. And I'm going to go with a receptions prop. And I'm going to say George Kittle will have over 3.5 receptions. I'm taking George Kittle on the over 3.5 receptions. I think it's a big Kittle game. Anyone who's been disappointed with Kittle recently, I think he's going to come out. This is a good matchup for tight ends going against the Arizona Cardinals, and I think he'll be pretty involved. More than 3.5 catches, at least. That's what I'm going with. And Coop, as the tight end tinkler, what do you think about George Kittle tonight? Is this a big game waiting to happen?
I think that's a great bet. I think that I should have made that myself. I see that it's a minus 140, which it's, if you bet that, you got to put some dough on it in real life. And the thing with Kittle is people keep telling me that, like, oh, he's blocking too much. He's really not. Like, hasn't blocked on more than 5 pass plays he's only one game he's blocked on 5 pass plays. And last week he played 71 of 71 snaps and ran every route but 2. He blocked on 2 pass plays. Like, his usage is exactly what it's always been. It wasn't even bad when Trent Williams was hurt. So, like, it's just a matter of Jimmy G being able to distribute the ball. George Kittle could easily have a monster game tonight. He could easily come through for you and the boys that need him. So Adam needs him too, I believe. So I like that Kittle bet a lot. I think that's a good one to throw some dollary dues on.
I usually feel so good leaving these drafts where I'm like, guaranteed 3 out of 3, no problem, we got it. And then I look at it the next day and I'm like, gosh dang it, JL beat me again. Like, that's just been the experience like 6 times in a row now. So JL, that being said, go ahead and pick your winning bets.
Don't jinx me like that, Simon.
I'm trying so hard to jinx you. I'm trying so hard to jinx you.
I already know it's accepting it. I'm going to do the impersonation. I'm fine with it. All right, Simon, stop jinxing me. My first one I'm going to take is I'm going to take the Arizona Cardinals to cover the spread. And it's the 8.5 point spread. I think this will be closer than that.
I like that.
You're taking the Cardinals at 8.5 is what you're doing?
Yep, to cover the spread.
Yeah, I don't mind that. Would help if we knew who the quarterback was, but we do not.
Vegas knows.
No, we do not. But Colt
Vegas
McCoy,
knows.
he'll make it happen. He'll make it happen if not. And then my second one here, I've been going through a couple. I think I'm going to go with, I'll take Jimmy Garoppolo over 1.5 rushing yards. He's been rushing a few yards each game. I think he's going to, if I'm betting this game is going to be closer than Vegas thinks, then I think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to need to make it happen with his legs somewhat, at least a little bit here, do some scrambling. So I'll take Jimmy Garoppolo over 1.5 rushing yards.
That's such a hilariously fun bet. That's the kind of bet that you want to make in secret when you're like watching the game with like 10, like you're going to a party to watch the game and you make that bet. And then he has some like 3-yard run and you're like, yes. And everyone's
I love it.
Everyone's
I
like,
love those
what?
because it's like Simon mentioned it, I think last week, it's like one play and then you hit or you don't. I don't like taking the unders on these because it sucks. You're sitting there like dreading one play the whole time, but the over, it's like, come on.
Well,
Jimmy, run.
Scary thing with a guy like Jimmy though, is that he could easily hit it and then have it taken away later. Like if you think 100%. About like Matt Ryan last week, he had that big run, but if you look, his total rushing yards was like 2 yards lower than how far that run was. Like he had 2 other plays where he didn't even get back to the line. So like Jimmy G could easily have like a 2-yard run. And then later they do like some like bootleg and he loses 4 yards and they take that money right away from you. So that's a fun one though. I like that one.
Back to me.
Yep. Back to you, bud.
Coop, I asked this while JL was gone and feel free to tell me no, but I did just take one that was minus 140. So I don't think you guys would be opposed if I wanted to take a plus odds bet here, right? Because I want to take an anytime touchdown score, and it's not our typical over under, but I just want to take a touchdown prop bet. But it's plus money. It's positive odds. It's not negative odds, so it's less likely to happen. Are we all cool with that? If
you could take anything you want that's not like minus 1,000, right? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So this is sitting at plus 135, is I believe where it's at. And I want to take Elijah Mitchell as an anytime touchdown scorer tonight. I think he's going to be heavily involved. He knows the playbook. They trust him. They're still working Christian McCaffrey in, and I think he's going to maintain that role. Last week with the work he got, he was still averaging right around 5 yards a carry like he's always done. And I see no reason why the 49ers would make this just the Christian McCaffrey show when they've got two good backs and they're going to be pushing for a Super Bowl this year, right? They want to keep people healthy. So Elijah Mitchell is an anytime touchdown scorer. We saw last week in those high pressure situations, Mitchell was on the field. You know what I mean? He's a back that they trust in this offense, that he knows how the playbook works. So I like those odds. I think San Francisco is going to win this game. They're going to have a couple touchdowns to go around. I like Mitchell to get in for one of them.
Yeah, I think that's
like that one's on.
Got a ton of carries last week. Pretty clear what they want to do is basically give, the bulk of the passing work to CMC and then split the rushing work between those two guys, which leaves room for everybody. Would that make it a cowardly play for me to pick Christian McCaffrey anytime touchdown?
No, you can do it. You can do whatever you want, Coop.
That one's minus 135. So they are giving him the slight favor there. But I think I'm gonna take them. I was eyeballing that McCaffrey one. I thought you were gonna take it. That's why I was like a little sad. But
I'm going to, but then I decided I want to give some oomph to Elijah Mitchell and people that were questioning starting him tonight. I think you can start him with some confidence.
Yeah, and they could both easily score. I mean, people forget that. There's been very few instances of two running backs being high-end fantasy football options on the same team. But this coach was one of the coaches that did orchestrate that. And do you guys remember where it was?
No.
2016 Atlanta Falcons.
Oh, Tevin Coleman and Devonta Freeman.
Tevin Coleman, Devonta Freeman, and Devonta Freeman was a clear RB1, and Tevin Coleman was basically fringe RB1. And Shanahan was a coach Shanahan was the offensive coordinator for that team, Kyle Shanahan. So he's got the formula. It's very possible. So Christian McCaffrey, I could easily see both Christian McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell score touchdowns today. I mean, Zeke and Tony Pollard scored 4.
Yeah, between the two of them. That's what we were looking at, Pollard's big day, and then you look down and Zeke still had 2 touchdowns. You were still happy with it.
Exactly. Yeah, you got away with it, but you felt a little dirty about it. And same thing with the Pollard folks. They were like, oh, well, he could have had them all,
Look what could have been.
What could have been. You know what? I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to bring up a comment from here. Squirrel Bob said, so in the realm of possibility, if Hopkins doesn't go, should I just play McBride? Next best option is Dortch, Jennings, and Ingram. What do you guys think? Yeah,
so I like McBride. He played 91% of the snaps last week when Ertz got hurt. And I pointed out that people were talking about McBride versus Gerald Everett. Even if Gerald Everett was healthy, he has the groin injury, and Gerald Everett has never played more than 78% of the snaps all year. Trey McBride last week played more snaps than Gerald Everett's played in any game all year. The only problem is the Rams are a bad matchup. If this was versus the Seahawks, I would have probably had Trey McBride at the fringe tight end 1 range. I would have had him 11, 12, even though we haven't seen much out of him. But I mean, with that usage, no Hollywood Brown, Trey McBride is definitely a sneaky play there. I would go him over all those guys you named. Juwan Jennings, you outside your mind?
Get out of your mind. No, just start Trey McBride. I'm with you, Coop. And Coop,
I started Juwan Jennings 1 week and it worked out. It was nice.
You're doing
that was
this
the only
week?
week I ever did. No.
The problem with starting Juwan Jennings is that because they use Kyle Juszczyk so much, you can only have 11 guys on the field. And a typical line is, tight end, 3 wide receivers, running back. When you bring in a fullback, you're not taking out George Kittle. You're not taking out the running back. So wide receiver comes out. So based on that alone, you're never going to have a 3rd wide receiver play the full game for this team. It's just the juice is always going to take those snaps. So that's why those guys, to me, I'm never going to go there. And I do got to pick one more right now. I'm kind of sad that we're using scores and odds here. They don't seem to have a Deebo Samuel rushing prop. I wanted to get a little freaky with one of those. But instead I'm going to take the Deebo Samuel receiving prop, 50.5 yards, which is actually lower than Brandon Ayuk's 56.5 yards. So I'm taking Deebo to have over 50 receiving yards today. I think that's pretty reasonable. Ask.
What was the line? 49.5?
50.5 is what you got.
50.5. Deebo
That's what
Samuel.
we're using FanDuel's numbers if possible, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, they don't have. They don't have many, but yeah, any of them.
Over 50.5 receiving yards for Deebo Samuel. And that's to pair with your Christian McCaffrey as an anytime touchdown score. Man,
and my James Conner over 4. I'm done. Those are my 3. James Conner 49.5.
And I'm looking at my Elijah Mitchell anytime touchdown score right next to your Christian McCaffrey anytime touchdown score and thinking like, what the hell did I just do? I just drafted Darnell Mooney ahead of Justin Jefferson is what I did. Sure, I liked Darnell Mooney, but I just got too cute with that one.
I think we shamed you a little bit with the George Kittle prop with the -140. I think that might have seeped into your brain a little bit that you didn't want to go too chalky there. So I appreciate you. I appreciate the effort.
Yikes. Okay. Yeah. I was just looking at that and I was like, man, that was a smart play, Coop. Much smarter than what I did, which was take the guy that wasn't minus odds to score the touchdown.
You could hedge here and hedge against me with the James Conner. I mean, no spoilers.
Trying to decide what I want to do here. There's a bunch of different routes I could go. I think where I'm going to go is I'm going to take the over on Jimmy Garoppolo's passing yards. I think it's set at 244.5. I think Jimmy Garoppolo and this offense get going tonight, and maybe this game's a little bit more offensive than we think it is. That's going to depend on if Kyler Murray plays, though, right? This could become a different style of game if Colt McCoy's out there and the 49ers get up big. I'm rolling with it, though. Over 244.5 passing yards for Jimmy Garoppolo.
I like that.
It's going to be all to George Kittle. It's all those more than 3.5 receptions that George Kittle is going to get. It's going to fill most of these yards out. All right, Demi G, because I'm not good at typing Garoppolo.
He said to himself about his you just said that to reassure you and your guillotine team, did you not?
I did. Yeah. This is all me just saying I'm willing my guillotine team to stay in this league. I'm willing it to do this.
So you know what? Draft. What was the line on that one again?
244.5.
The Cardinals are allowing 247.1 yards per game. So
beautiful. Look at that.
Go according to plan. That's how that works, right?
All right, my last one here. I'm gonna go a little different, guys. And I think you're gonna drag me for it. I think I'm gonna get roasted, but I'm gonna go Christian McCaffrey, receptions 4.5, and I'm gonna take the under. I'm gonna take the under here.
How come? Why?
How in the world?
Last week they played the Chargers. The line for his receptions was 4.5. It hit the under. It's not unreasonable. I'm banking on Elijah Mitchell being more involved in the passing game.
I guess we'll see. Jail. I'm happy you took that one because I look at that line and I think
against you guys a bit too here because this might give me an edge if I hit it.
Now there is a narrative to be said for that. I mean, before the game before that, he had 8 receptions, but there is a narrative of Christian McCaffrey has had pretty serious injury concerns the last couple of years. They're 8.5 point favorites. If Kyler Murray doesn't play, there really is no reason to run a guy like Christian McCaffrey into the ground. So, yeah, I mean, there's a very real possibility that they split the work and just kind of cruise through this one if Colt McCoy is quarterback, even though Colt McCoy obviously has the best name in football.
Number one.
Easy.
The most football name there is, Colt McCoy.
Colt McCoy.
Jail. Coop convinced me. I love a trip down narrative street. I love a trip down
You're on board with
narrative street.
I think it's a terrible bet, but I was just trying to help my buddy.
Appreciate that, man.
I wouldn't put any of my real money on that under any circumstances. But hey, Jail's the prop man.
We gotta do like a extra bet on top of this. Like if this hits, we gotta do something.
Jail, the number of times you've made a selection, I've been like, okay, well, I got it this week. Know what I mean? Like where you've made a pick and I've been like, yeah, I got it this week, which where that confidence has come from when I haven't won a single round of these, I don't know. But like, I look at some of your picks and I'm like, okay, yeah, we got this one in the bag. And then I check the next one. I'm like, what in the hell happened? How does he do this every single week, twice a week? Like I'm most confident that one's going to hit now, even though it's the one I like the least out of all of these.
Stop saying that, Simon. Oh, you're jinxing me.
I'm trying so hard.
I don't want your faith. Keep your comforting and your faith to yourself.
Guys, you're just so good at this, JL, that it makes me question everything I think about my own choices.
Yeah. It's just you just hit him with such an onslaught of backhanded compliments.
I know, right?
Even though you're so good at this, and even though your picks are so bad every time, I'm like, ew, these are terrible. But then you win. You know, and that's like going to jail.
Like the 1-2 combo, the jinx and the insult.
Right. That's like being like, that dress is so ugly, but you make it work.
Somehow.
But you somehow make it work. I love how you don't even care what your hair looks like. Like,
yeah, that dress is so ugly, but it doesn't look as bad on you.
On you make it work. Like, that's basically what you just did to your props. Like, I would never bet that Christian McCaffrey, but you're the prop master. You are the prop master.
Appreciate that, Simon.
You're welcome, JL. Anything for you on a Monday morning. Guys, coming up, we are going to play some fantasy feud, and we've got Hogs and Logs to talk about from week 11. If you've got your fantasy questions, we're going to be here answering them. So throw them in the chat or hit that call in button and come up on air with us and ask your question live. Right now, you're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Join Corey Nando and friends presented by Mayo Media weekdays at 3 Eastern on Better Sports Network.
Darren Ravel's here.
I love tickets, man. That is my bet. I have a very hard time selling many of them, even if I know I'm going to make a ton of money. I just love the idea of the stories that tickets tell.
You know, Darren, that's interesting because I got a ticket I was at Nats Park the night when Albert Pujols hit his 400th home run. And I remember saying to myself, I'm going to save the ticket. But I don't know where. I can't find it. And then when you mention
that's exactly the problem.
Yeah.
Not only did the people who say they're, because you didn't have a bulletin, like, it's unlike cards, right? There's no place to put it naturally. Is it in your wallet? Is it in your shoebox? Is it on a bulletin board? Like, that's been the problem. Like, I have tickets that I got that, like, you could literally tell. I have one right here, the Jimmy Connors Aaron Crickstein match, right? The 5-setter. And you can literally tell that this was put on a bulletin board. You know, that's how it was saved. There's dots in there. But even the kids outside the ballpark that had the great idea as entrepreneurs to say, I'm going to ask people for $5, will you sell me the ticket? Those guys couldn't even hold on long enough for this market to hit. Like, those guys had the foresight and it still didn't work. So that's part of the complexity of tickets, which are so cool.
Front Yard Fantasy, weekday mornings at 7 Eastern on Better Sports Network.
We are joined by a very special guest now. We've got sports radio legend. We have Scott Farrell with us.
You know, it's weird. I'm not a collector of, sports memorabilia.
Yeah.
The only things I've said on the air that I've ever kept in my life were, I have millions of jerseys and all that nonsense, but I have 50 years of Sports Illustrated magazines, and I had the Len Dawson autograph. I have Lemieux autograph pictures, because I'm good friends with Mario Lemieux. And I also have valuable pictures of Bill Mazeroski hitting the Game 7 1960 World Series 9th inning home run to beat the Yankees. So I'm a Pirate fan for life, but I love the Yankees too, because I've lived in New York for 25 years now. My favorite player my whole life, though, strangely enough, my entire life was George Brett of the Royals. I love George Brett from the day I saw him play. Back in the day when guys actually hit close to 400 every year, instead of these guys making 50 million hitting 210 with 5 home runs. All the wussies in Major League Baseball today, they're not like they used to play. Back in the day, guys like George Brett, Rod Carew, Pete Rose, those guys.
I don't know how many 98 mile an hour sliders those boys were seeing back then.
Listen, if you hit 300 every year of your career and you're in Cooperstown, I don't want to hear it.
Better Sports Network is betting, fantasy, collectibles. It's sports talk done better.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
It's in the game.
I needed it, JL. I was waiting for it. Auto game. Ow!
Now we can start.
Now we can continue. Oh, phew. God, that was just sitting in my belly, that ow, this entire time. Like he's going to say it. I know he's going to say it.
Oh, my God. I have never been more like sad that I wasn't prepared for it, because as soon as you were leaning into it, I was like, oh no.
Sorry for first I insult you, then I set you up for failure right after that. I got some making up to do, JL.
And then during the break, I just was quickly going through my leagues to see how I was doing, if I had any games that were online tonight. And I realized I am starting Juwan Jennings today. So, Coop also insulted me a little bit ago. He said, "Are you out of your mind?"
And then I mathematically explained why that's a bad play. But I mean, you never know, man.
You're the prop master.
That's
I've already lost this match. This league is insane. This is a dynasty league, and it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 flex spots, and it's super flex also. It's insane.
Yeah, that's brutal. Are there normal positional spots as well, like running back and wide receiver?
Yeah, 1 running back, 1 wide receiver, 1 QB. Well, yeah, 1 QB, and however many flex spots I just said, and then the
6.
super flex spot.
Hot.
Yeah.
We had a question from Illmind Jedi in here. Said, do you think J.K. Dobbins will be back next week? So, JL, as a Ravens fan, you got any? You heard any rumblings from the Ravens Russells that J.K. Dobbins is coming back?
You know, I haven't seen a ton of news from him. Let's see, 3 days ago, it looks like. No, it doesn't seem like there's a bunch of news on him yet. So.
They've all been focused on they've all been focused on Gus. They got to get Gus back first, and then J.K. Dobbins is coming back probably. I believe this is like one of the first weeks he could come back, right?
Yeah, I think the last we heard was that he was that the surgery went well. And then and then I think it looks like they're probably eyeing to bring him back for a playoff run, but I don't think we have news if he's going to be back this regular season or not.
I'll tell you what, the first time around, he was very vocal on social media about him being fine, him being ready to come back. He has not been on Twitter. Like, he has not said anything on Twitter for at least a week now. He's not said anything. I've seen him like a couple tweets, but he's not come out and say, I'll be back, this or that. So he's taking a more conservative approach personally. Like, the first time around, he kind of tricked a lot of us by coming out saying he was ready to rock and roll, and then he was not ready.
Maybe he just feels a little silly about that. You know what I mean? Maybe he feels a little silly about that, and he's being more careful this time. Like, maybe he's in the same position, but he's like, yeah, I'm not doing that again. Like, I'm not going out there saying I'm ready, and then I'm not. Because people are mean. People are really mean. Not everyone's reasonable and can say, like, you know what? He probably thought he was going to be back. People are going to start yelling at him because people suck on the internet sometimes.
Most of the time.
Most of the time.
But not on this show.
Nope.
We only suck off the internet, not on the internet.
There you go, dude. That's a promo.
And
auto game.
AutoZone game.
Ow! Yeah, definitely want to tie AutoZone's real name to that one. Good job.
If we don't get sponsored by them one day, I'm going to be so pissed.
Unbelievable, man. It's crazy they haven't reached out yet.
You guys ready to get into some family feud? And by that, I mean fantasy feud.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm ready.
Let's do it. Coop and JL are going to be facing off against each other. Here's how this game's going to work. I'm going to propose to you a category, something like the top 7 all-time passing leaders. If you think you know the top one on that list, say your name and buzz it. And if you get it right, you will get to choose whether you want to play or pass that round. Choose to play. You got to get all the names on that list before you get 3 strikes. If you do, you will earn all of those points, 1 point for every single one you got. But if you get 3 strikes before the list is complete, your opponent will have an opportunity to steal. They just have to get one of the names that is left on that list, and they will steal all of the points for that round. Now, in that initial round, if you guess one and it's not the top option, your opponent will have an opportunity to also guess one that they think is higher on the list than the one that you said. If it is, they get the option to pass or play. Whoever's got the most points at the end of a couple rounds of this will be our Fantasy Feud champion for today. You guys ready?
Yep.
Remember, buzz in. You got to buzz in whenever you think you know the answer. And here is the first category. According to over 11.9 thousand voters and over 93,000 votes, what are the top 6 Gatorade flavors?
Cool.
JL.
JL, I heard you first. You can go color or flavor. I'll accept either.
Chat, you have my back on
Blue.
this. I was in there.
I go blue.
JL, Normal blue, cool blue is the
Cool
number
blue.
one on the list. You are
Yeah.
absolutely correct. So you get to choose whether you want to pass or play here.
And so this is. Well, can you read me the thing one more time? It was how many? Am I guessing here?
The top 6 Gatorade flavors.
I gotta
Okay, I'll take
I'm
this one.
minimizing the chat.
Yeah,
Joe, you
minimize
minimize
the
the chat as well.
Already did so, Papa.
Oh, thank you.
All right, so I said blue. I'm gonna go red.
Blue is just that's the default answer of like what
It's the
kind of
best one. Come on.
what kind of Gatorade you want? Blue. I don't even care what blue you bring me. Like you can't find
Yeah.
a blue I don't like.
Any
I know
of the
there's
blues are fine.
there's many of them, but they should mix it up and come out with a blue that everyone hates just to stop people from being like now you
That
have
seems
to
like in their best interests.
but maybe it would be. Maybe it would be
They're
because
buying
then-
too much blue.
the thing is the brand isn't hitting with the cool blue versus the mountain berry chiller. Like you need to have like no one knows the different names. But if you come out with one terrible blue, now everyone's gonna know the names. They're gonna be like, give me
Suck
that
blue.
Give me that glacier freeze because I don't want that suckberry.
Oh, Glacier Freeze is what it's called. I
Suckberry.
forgot.
Suckberry. Joe, what was your guess?
I guess red was the next one.
Red is number 10 on the list, is not in the top 6. Suck it, all you red lovers. I feel so vindicated that red is so far down
How
this
is
list
that
'cause it
possible, bro?
by far my least favorite Gatorade flavor.
That's insane. Red is fine.
Red's fine.
It's no
Red
blue.
Red is
No
too.
blue.
It tastes like Hawaiian Punch, not like Gatorade. Like it's just a little bit too sugary.
Hawaiian Punch is delicious.
Right, but when I'm going for Gatorade,
Gatorade,
I'm not going for like a really I'm not going for like a fruit punch beverage. I'm going for like refreshing, and that's more like candy.
I feel like it does taste like Hawaiian Punch, but not like sugary, and like it's got enough of the Gatorade part of it that it makes it refreshing still. If that makes
Gotcha.
sense.
Well, Joe, you got one bonk and you got one right on this list so far. Red was not on there.
I don't understand that. This
That's
list
crazy.
is already phony.
That's crazy. that
Let's
Red's
go.
on there.
Let's go with I can't even imagine. I'll go with orange. I don't know why anyone would choose orange, but
Orange is the worst.
it's terrible.
Orange is number 11 on this list, behind red. So orange is worse than red, according to the people on this
at least they
site.
got that right.
Dale,
Hey,
I'm starting to get. Here's why I'm starting to get concerned. I didn't know that there were this many colors of Gatorade.
Oh yeah, there's everything.
But I thought I was like 10's got to be the lowest. There's how many are there?
It's like 11. He's like, oh, that's number 76 on the list.
Now you're getting into the
All right.
advanced Crayola boxes.
The experimental Gatorade flavors. They never
Yeah, this
Mo.
list goes pretty far down. There's some flavors on here. I'm like, huh, that must have been like limited edition in Germany only for that Gatorade.
All right, my next guess, I'll go with yellow.
Jail yellow
Be good guess.
is number 4 on this list.
Oh.
Lemon lime number 4. That is absolutely correct. So Joe, you've got 2 bonks, but you've got 2 correct here.
I should start writing these down
Oh gosh,
because I think you're
And
gonna
Tommy
get
in the chat saying, guys, I hate to tell you, but red and blue are colors, not flavors. Not in Gatorade world. It is
Not
you can
Gatorade.
not
say
in the Gatorade world.
it is exactly what you think it is.
All right, I'm gonna go with the next one. I'm gonna go with is the white one. I don't know what the flavor is, but it's white.
disgusting.
Still, the white one, Glacier Cherry. While I agree with Coop, is number 2 on this list.
People love that one.
Behind
Shut the
Cool
hell
Blue.
up.
It goes Cool
Shut your-
Blue.
Shut your little
Glacier
mouth up.
Cherry. That's
Glacier
number
Cher-
2.
What part of the world are people drinking that? That's not even available here. That's not even. New England rejected that. We were like, no chance.
Glacier Cherry, get over yourself.
Because no one's like, hey,
Glacial cherry.
I'm grabbing a Gatorade. What color you want? Let me get white. Let me get
Also-
glacial cherry.
People in the chat saying Jail keeps naming colors and Simon keeps giving it to him because he's telling me it is that's what it is. The list has the flavor and the color listed next to it. Jail, you don't have to memorize the advertising slogans attached to each Gatorade as long as you
Thank you.
differentiate them by color.
If we were guessing just by the name, I would need a list because I don't know the name.
No chance. dude.
I'm not that big of a Gatorade guy. I stick to my blues and sometimes a red. Throw in a red every once in a while.
Also, how is blue normal? I heard you slip
do
a
you mean?
normal in there. What do you mean by normal?
When did I say normal?
No,
Oh, like the normal flavor.
Simon said normal.
Oh, I don't know.
I was just saying the first one was just blue. Cool blue. The OG blue was number 1 on this list.
Okay. Yeah.
All right,
That's
my
right.
next
That's
guess. I'm kind of running out of colors here. Like I don't know that many more colors than I've already said, but I'm gonna go with purple. I did like the purple one for a bit. Kind of got old though.
It's a lot.
Can you be more specific?
Grape?
I guess you know what? I'll go with the original purple. There's multiple shades of purple. Number 7 on the list, JL. I realized it didn't even matter. It is outside of the top 6. That is going to be your third bonk. The other purple was even lower. So I guess I just gave
good luck, Coop.
one that he's not going to guess, but that's a bonk.
This is getting wild. Okay, so do I just have to get one right now?
You have to get one right and you will get 4 points.
Okay. We've already so the ones that have been said are blue, white, insane. Yellow was 4, purple was 7, red was 10, orange was 11.
Correct.
All right. So if white is, so I believe that there's a like green one that's like watermelon. I'm gonna go green.
Green. The cucumber pepino green, is that the one you're talking about?
Could I change my mind now?
I'm just trying to figure out which one, because you said like melon. That's the melon one I'm thinking of. It's like cucumber melon, that one.
I mean, I'll just go with that one. Yeah.
Green is not on this list, which means JL, you are going to get the points. You're going to get 3 points. Start out in the lead.
What in the heck was in the rest of the list?
Number 3, you guys are going to kill me. It was light blue. Glacier Freeze.
I dropped a Glacier Freeze earlier, name drop earlier.
If you would have said it, that was number 3. Number 4, JL already got. Number 5 was Arctic Blitz, which is another blue.
Also blue. Oh,
okay. Number 5.
Now I get why we're having so much trouble here.
Yeah. And number 6 was the pink one. Strawberry Lemonade was number 6. So Strawberry Lemonade Gatorade was number 6 on the list.
One. Can you just hit me with 8? Can you just hit me with 8 and 9 real quick?
Yeah, 8 is Fierce Grape, so dark purple. Fierce. And then 9 is Blue Cherry, so another cherry one.
So if we just kept saying blue over and over again, we would have been fine.
We would have got it. Yeah.
I would have asked for more clarity after the original blue than just blue over and over again. And Dustin in the chat saying 3 blues on the list. And Jay said, congrats on knowing your primary colors, JL.
Thanks.
Blue, red, yellow.
Appreciate that.
Squirrel Bob in the chat with the light blue. Now that I've opened the chat up. Yeah, I mean, like, had I know, I thought I was a little confused by the whole setup.
Well, guys, it's time for round 2. Round 2 now. JL, you are in the lead after that one. But here is what I want to know for the second one. What I want to know is the top 7. We're going 7 on this one. The top 7 PPR running backs from week 11 so far.
PPR running backs from week 11 so far.
Coop. Buzz in. Whoever. Okay.
Jail.
Coop was in first. Coop was in first. Okay, Coop. Top 7. That's what we're looking for.
It's going to be tough to get, but I know a few of them just based on touchdowns. So I'm going to go Jamaal Williams. Had 3 touchdowns.
Well, wait. Okay. So you got to name one here, and you're trying to name the top one on the list. You already said Jamaal Williams, though.
Yeah. I'll go with Jamaal.
So Jamaal Williams.
No. Fine. I guess I already said it.
Jamaal Williams is on the list. Is number 5 on the list, though. So JL, if you can name one that's higher than number 5, you will get to choose whether you pass or play here.
I've been way too long. I forgot the rules.
I can't remember if he is in the top 5. I know he's up there. I'm going to go with Samaje Perine.
Samaje Perine is number 2 on this list, JL. You get to choose. Do you want to pass or do you want to play?
I'm going to pass.
Ooh.
Okay, Coop. You're going to play this one. JL taking a strategic pass here. The 2 names on the list already are Perine and Jamaal Williams. We're looking for the top 7 running backs so far in week 11 in PPR scoring.
I was
strikes available to you.
I was going to guess Jamaal Williams and pass as well. You Will Smith me.
Yeah.
So Tony Pollard had 180 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's got to be somewhere on there. So give me Tony Pollard.
Good one.
Tony Pollard's not just somewhere on there. He's at the top of the list. Number 1 running back on the week so far.
Of
Toney
course.
Pollard. Nice job, Coop.
So, dude, Jamaal Williams with 3 touchdowns at 5 has me rattled because some of these must be some receptions going on out there. Quite a few for someone. Give me.
What's it gonna be, Coop?
I got names of players.
I know players.
I know players. Give me.
I'm
give
gonna bonk
me.
you if you take too long.
You can't bonk me. Give me.
I can bonk you if I want, Coop. You're not in Denmark anymore.
That's right. Give me Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry is number 4 on this list. That is absolutely correct. We got Henry at 4. So, Coop, there are 3 names left, and you've got 3 strikes available. Who else are you guessing? Who else is on this list?
Give me Zeke Elliott with 2 touchdowns.
Ezekiel Elliott is number 9 on the week. Is just outside of that top 7 that we're going for here. But nice pull.
Doesn't make the list though. Okay. So let me get.
What are you thinking, Coop? You running
let
through
me-
games in your head? Is that what you're trying to do?
I'm trying a little bit, yeah, because that's kind of how you figure these type things out. Let me get. Oh man, let me
Dustin
get.
in the chat said, just say some guy from the AFC. It would fit going off of the last round. You guys are brutal. People describe Gatorades by the color all the time.
That's how that
more
works,
regularly than they say the
I'm
flavor.
sorry. Yeah.
You guys get over yourselves.
Jay's
This
like,
is actually
I'm sorry.
not blue.
You don't know 12 different Gatorade flavors?
Let me
You
get.
don't know all of them?
Let me get Cordarrelle Patterson. Did he do anything
Cordarrelle
besides
Patterson.
run back a kick?
He is not. He is number 19 on the week. Cordarrelle
That's
Patterson. You got
a
confused by your
double bomb.
league with the double
Points, yeah.
the double points for return yards.
Okay. Well, this is.
And guys in the chat, throw your answers in the chat if you want to play along. We'll shout you out if you get them right. We'll make fun of you if you get
Love
them
it
wrong.
when you play along. We love it.
Austin Eckler. Is he on the list?
Austin Eckler is number 8. Number 8 on the list. Just
off the list.
outside. Which JL, if you get one of these names, you're going to steal 5 points and take an 8-0 lead here.
I think I can do this here. I think I'm pretty confident because I'm going to go with my guy who I feel vindicated finally this week, which maybe I shouldn't, but Najee Harris, I'm pretty sure is up here.
Najee Harris is number 3 on the list.
Let's
JL, the
go.
3rd highest scoring PPR
Good
running
job,
back
dude.
this week.
I have no idea who the other ones are, so thank God he's on there.
The other 2, no one in the chat has actually guessed either of these 2 players. I
David
take it back.
Montgomery.
David Montgomery is one of them.
That was my next
And then-
one.
That's
then
a good one.
Squirrel Bob came in with the last player. Josh Jacobs was number 7 on the week with 19
course he
PPR
was.
fantasy points. So the final list is
Every
Tony
week.
Pollard, Samaje Perine, Najee Harris, Derrick Henry, Jamaal Williams, David Montgomery, Josh Jacobs.
I say I wouldn't have scored. I wouldn't have ever guessed. Even if I got Monty there, I would never have guessed Josh Jacobs because I got too wrapped up on touchdowns, and Josh Jacobs didn't score a touchdown, did he?
No. Jay in the chat said Monty and then said, I guessed that you bummed that I didn't come out. Jay, I'm sorry. I was just using your criteria for Gatorade to grade your answers as well. Since you didn't fully say David Montgomery, I didn't want to shout you out and give you the points because it seemed below you to not give a full answer. So
Well, he could have been Ty Montgomery. Could have been anyone that he was guessing.
yeah, I just got to hold you to your own standard, man. Got to hold you to your own standard.
That was
Could have been
well played.
Montrell, Washington.
Squirrel Bob said, I only got Jacobs because you said Eckler was 8 and I had Jacobs and played Eckler over him. So he was aware. He was like, okay. So if the guy on my bench outscored him, then I got him right there. That was your Slumdog Millionaire. You're like, wait, I had Eckler.
Yeah, pretty smart.
Jacobs on my
So, Slumdog. That's. I mean, dude, the fact that Zeke 2 touchdowns didn't make the cut. That really threw me for a loop.
Right. I guess the rest of his game was pretty rough after that, right? He had 42 rushing yards and 5 receiving yards.
Half PPR
and 2 touchdowns. Half PPR. Let's see in half PPR. Zeke is number 8. So still outside. He moved up 1 spot. He jumped who fell below him?
I'll just shut the hell up then. How about that? Well, but in standard.
Yeah, this game has only made me feel bad about myself.
I'm pulling standard up. Hey, so you're 7 in standard. So just for the one format that I don't have a single league of, that's where I was thinking.
You guys ready for round 3? Coop, you got some ground to make up here. For sure.
Give me one with like you to guess the top 75 quarterbacks all time. That's how many points I need.
Oh, if it's an all-time one, I'm done.
Here
All-time's
is your
right.
next one.
Arrive.
With over 385,000 votes and more than 19.8 thousand voters, individual voters on this list.
It's just not
What I need to
football.
know are the top 8 best things to put in a salad. The top 8 best things to put in a salad. Okay, JL.
Croutons.
Croutons
Number 1 should be.
are number 8 on this list.
Bullshit.
JL. So
Bullshit.
Coop gets an opportunity
No.
to guess one ahead of you.
That's a lot.
Coop, if you get something above crouton on this list, you will get to choose whether you want to play or pass.
Now that's crazy. The crouton thing, that's not good because now do I go with a safest pick here or do I go with what I think the best thing to put in there is? That's the real thing. I think I'm gonna go with safe. I'm gonna play it safe here and say lettuce.
Coop, lettuce is number 1 on this list. Lettuce
That's so
is the
dumb. You
number
don't
1
put lettuce
best
in a
thing.
salad. The lettuce is the salad.
Oh, I beg to differ.
I beg to
Because
differ
when you
as
get
well.
when you get a salad, when you order a salad and you think it's gonna be like lettuce and then it's like some like
arugula,
purple spinach or something, you know what I mean? And you're just like, oh no.
Oh, okay. So you guys are specifically talking about the type of lettuce because spinach is in
Is this
a salad.
is this gonna
confused
is
by
this
you.
gonna be a Gatorade situation where it's like number 2 is iceberg lettuce or like you know what I mean? Like
No, I will say there are no
That's
more.
Romanian.
That is the only one with the word lettuce in it. You guys don't have to guess any more lettuce on this
It's
list.
just like I'm just wondering, like, what's the point of this survey? Like, what are they trying to learn here? if the number 1 topping,
I believe it's my turn
is
to
lettuce.
play.
Like, yeah, no shit.
I think it's a great survey, and I love what the direction they've gone in with it. Croutons, croutons should definitely be 1. Okay, but I'm gonna play this one because I need all the points. I can't like risk JL screwing it up again and then me only getting like 4 points if I get it right. You know,
I gotta address something here. He said macaroni salad. I knew somebody was gonna bring this up. Not the same thing. They may call it that, but that's not a salad, right? Like, can we agree on that? Mayonnaise on things doesn't get a salad, even if you call it.
Now
salad?
that messes everything up, dude. Because like I would never put potatoes in a salad, but I'd much rather have potato salad than a salad.
that's just preference.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, you don't think that potato salad's dope?
No, I don't like mayonnaise.
I think you're allowed to have different kinds of salad. You can have different
Alright.
kinds of salad.
On the
There's no
list?
stand on it. No, not on the. I'm just. This is just salad. This is like when you think like a bowl of salad. This is what we're talking about here.
Okay.
But when we're talking salad in general, I don't think we need to like shame potato salad for not being green. It's a different
I'm just
kind of
saying there's a
salad.
distinction. Yeah, there's a distinction is what I'm saying.
there's-
because
I mean, but
Keith's
there's-
point was that macaroni salad's a salad.
Well, there's pasta salad that they make with like Italian dressing, which brings me back to the game and my guess, dressing.
Dressing is not on the list until number 16 is where the first dressing comes into play, Coop.
People like that dry ass.
So
salad,
these
I guess.
people are sitting there. Yeah, they're making salad. They put 15 things in there, and then they're like, maybe I'll do some dressing on this one.
Okay, to be fair, imagine you get to pick one thing in your bowl. Like ranch dressing alone isn't a salad, right?
Yeah,
It's just a bowl
and
of
lettuce
ranch
is not
dressing.
assumed. It's just you just have dressing.
Exactly.
right?
Like we've understood now. Lettuce is not assumed in this situation. So like if you said someone you get to pick one thing for your salad and they pick ranch dressing, they're just drinking ranch dressing.
I'll tell you right
But
now.
that's a
dude,
salad according
in,
to
in,
us.
in order of things
Right.
that I'll be eating, right? Salad with no dressing on it is going to be at the bottom, and just ranch is going to be closer to something that I would. I mean, at least you can like dip stuff in that. What am I going to do with a salad with no dressing?
Cry.
Eat it.
No.
I don't know.
Coop, I'm
Have
gonna
you
be
guys-
honest. I didn't eat dressing for a long time because I didn't like wet food. It freaked me out. So I would eat dry salad whenever I ate it, and it just tastes like leaves. Like it's fine. Like it just tastes like plain vegetables. There's
Some
nothing
salad
gross
bites you
about
get,
plain
there's no-
vegetables.
There's no dressing. It's just the dry.
Like it's not exciting. Don't get me wrong. I'm not eating this going like, man, this raw tomato and arugula is really hitting the spot. It's just like, this is fine.
When I eat salad, I always have the same thought in my head where like one day I'm going to get the perfect bite of salad and then I'm never going to eat it again. Because like you're always trying to craft that one bite that's just like just right, but it never, I feel like it never quite is. It never quite is. Have you guys ever had a perfect bite of salad?
No.
Yes.
Do you remember? I was like, it was July 2013.
2000 all in the ale house. Lemon tahini. Ooh, lemon tahini dressing on that salad. So effing good.
Dustin and Jay are being menaces in the chat. Jay, give me that plain lettuce salad. Dustin said, best thing to put on a taco. Number one, the shell. Just like me.
That one's actually pretty good.
Number two, a bowl. A bowl. Guess bowl. All right, let's get back to the topic at hand.
You got one strike, Coop, lettuce and crouton. The top and the bottom of this list are both guessed. You got to get the 6 in the middle now.
Okay. Well, okay. I'm gonna guess a divisive one, but in honor of Tommy, I'll say tomatoes. A lot of people like tomatoes.
Coming in at number 7 is the tomato. Tomato is on the list at number 7, Coop. Nice job. Right ahead of crouton. 8.
Now I'll guess my favorite thing in the salad, which is onion. I think that is the best flavor.
Onion is number 13 on this list, Coop. Onion did not make the top 8. That is 2 strikes now. You've got one more strike. I agree with you. I'm with you. Onion's getting disrespected here.
I'm in big trouble here. All right. Let's go back to basics then, I guess. Cucumbers.
Cucumber is number 3 on this list, Coop. Yeah. Sorry, number 2 on this list is cucumber.
Okay. Nice of course, job. Everybody loves cucumber over croutons. Cucumbers come in every salad. You come with every salad typically.
Unbelievable, dude. They kind of do.
Dustin said number 2, soft shell for the taco.
This whole thing is blowing. This whole thing is blowing my mind. There's no way I get through this whole thing. There's got to be some curveballs in there. So let me guess. What's in most salad? Carrots? Like shredded carrots?
Is that your guess?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Carrot is number 5 on this list, Coop. That is absolutely correct. So now you've just got numbers 3, 4, and 6 left, but you also have 2 strikes.
Yeah, I know. I'm in trouble. What do people like? What do weird people like based on this survey? Spinach? That seems like a normal thing.
Spinach is number 4 on this list, Coop. You got spinach in there at number 4. There are 2 left. Number 3 and number 6 are the only 2 left.
Okay. I'm going to go. I feel like it's a lot of leafy stuff, but there's other stuff I'd want on there. Like when I think croutons and dressing, I would also put something else in there that I like.
What's it going to be, Coop?
I'll go. Okay, I'm gonna go with my heart. Go with something I like. Cheese.
Cheese.
Now, do I have to go specific on types if it is on there, or
cheese as a whole is number 3 on this list, Coop. Cheese is sitting there at 3rd place, which means there is 1 left. If you get this one, you get all these points and tie it up with JL. The game will end in a tie. If you get it wrong, JL has an opportunity to steal, but you lose either way. Last strike, last guess. What's the last item on this list? Number 6, best topping for a salad.
Dude, if we're going, if tomatoes are very divisive, I'm going with one that's equally, if not more, divisive with olives.
Olives. Oh, I'm having to scroll quite a way because they are not number 6 on this list. I was trying to tell you where they were. Number 27 on the list is olives right here.
You really fumbled the bag on that one, Coop.
Big time, dude.
You got all the way to the end.
I made it so dramatic too, right? Like,
and it was like you were about to score the game-winning layup, and then you just tripped.
Like
no one around you. You just
empty netter. I put in the stands. I hope you boys like goals.
You hit the underside of the rim and just shoots back at you.
Olives. What am I thinking, dude? I don't even like.
I'm gonna go with my biggest nemesis, bacon.
Wow, that's bold.
John Luke, I know it took a lot for you to say that. I want you to know it was completely in vain because bacon is number 12 on this list. So you said bacon for no reason.
It's gonna be like chicken.
That's all good.
It is chicken, Coop. Chicken is number 6 on this list. Had you said that, you would have won this game, but unfortunately, JL is the winner of Fantasy Feud today by a score of 8-7. Coop, you did get 7 points in that last round.
Olives.
You would have tied that game up. You would have won that game. Guys, coming up, we're going to talk hogs and logs from this weekend's games and answer any of your questions. So if you've got questions for us, make sure to throw them in the chat. And if this is your first time here hanging out with us, I just want to take this moment to welcome you guys in. We are Front Yard Fantasy, and we're here every single morning from 7 to 10 a.m. Eastern time. You're enjoying what we're doing over here. You're enjoying this experience. You'll want to make sure to head on over to our YouTube channel at Front Yard Fantasy and hit that sub button because we got more of this nonsense going on our YouTube channel as well. Like I said, though, this is the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show, and we will be right back with some hogs and logs.
Front Yard Fantasy, weekday mornings at 7 Eastern on Better Sports Network.
There was a tweet about the refs that had me kind of cracking up the other day because somebody was like, we have the technology to track the ball down to a centimeter and figure out, what speed these guys are running on the field. Yet somehow we still mark the ball by
That's my favorite.
a 60-year-old dude eyeballing it. And then we run over with literal chains and measure it. It's like, you think we can probably get that figured out.
The least precise way to measure something and then immediately following that up with a super precise way of measuring something.
Yeah, it's like we have
Like if you're a millimeter short of that chain that they bring out there, that they ran out it as best they could in a straight line. But if you first they just go here, and then they grab the chains and they run in the straightest line possible. But then if you are 1 millimeter short with that football, doesn't count. Sorry. Couldn't have been human error. You're just short.
That's exactly. And, they bring up the index card or whatever. Meanwhile, they have satellites in space tracking how fast Brandon Ayuk ran on an end around. But we can't,
and I can see that number live while he's doing it. Like I can see every player's speed on the screen live.
I love that. It's and not to mention that dude's trying to make the spot and the player always tosses the ball right into his face. Right? He's coming over to spot it, and it's every other time the player just here you go. Here's another thing to juggle.
On call with Dr. Roto.
If the Giants don't win another game this year, A, I'll be shocked. But B, I'll still think that they're better than they were with Joe Judge. Much better. Because I think Brian Dable's got a lot out of this team already. And I'm seeing what this team could be. See, that's the problem with owners and general managers. I see Nathaniel Hackett and I see a guy who can't get it done. I see Matt Rule and see a guy who never should have been hired. Disaster right away. Sometimes a good coordinator in the NFL is better. I don't even say sometimes. Most of the time, a good coordinator in the NFL is better than a college coach because the NFL coordinators, they know the system. They've been there. They've played. They've been around it. For the life of me, I don't know why Eric Bieniemy hasn't gotten a job yet. Deuce Staley's going to get a job. Somebody's going to hire that dude. When you've been around the game, you understand it. These college guys come, they don't know it.
Join the show with one touch of a button. It's Sports Talk 3.0 on Better Sports Network.
Hey, what's up? Welcome back into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. We're getting some World Cup updates in the chat. I know our friend Joey's a big England soccer fan, and England is up 3-0 on Iran right now. And the U.S. plays a little bit later today against Wales, if I'm not mistaken, 1 p.m. my time. I'm excited that whenever this show ends, in the background for the rest of this afternoon, it's just going to be soccer playing on the TV, some sports, some high-stakes sports that I know people are watching. Excited to have that on.
I kind of love the World Cup, dude. On the way back, on the trip back, I just put on I was looking at the things that were available to me on the plane. I just put on a 2-hour clip of the best Premier League goals to get myself fired up. Just watching goals. I know no meaning of what they mean at all. Just watching crazy bicycle kicks and headers. So I'm fired up now. fired up.
Man, every time before the World Cup, I go back and I watch. There's just one goal where I swear it was from like 40 yards out. The Dutch, I think it was De Jong on the Dutch team scored, and I've already watched it 10 times this year to get myself hyped up against Uruguay, which was one of the best soccer games I've ever watched. That Netherlands Uruguay match from the year they made it to the finals and lost, but we got some good soccer going on. Also, 234 saying it's 10 p.m. local time for the U.S. whenever they're playing over there. So to get that on at 1 p.m. here. It's at 10 p.m. local time. Guys, we got some hogs and logs to talk about from this week's games. We're going to go game by game, talk about the players that stood out above the rest, the hogs, the guys that are true studs, and then the ones that just laid a log. They are the true logs out there on the field. And the game I wanted to start with was this Chicago Bears Atlanta Falcons game. The Atlanta Falcons came out on top 27-24 in this one. We got some hog and some log performances in this one, and some maybe some hogs from previous weeks that disappointed here. First player, Coop, since you're back, why not start with the tight end for the Chicago Bears, Cole Kmet, who was coming off back-to-back multiple touchdown games. And then in this game, Cole Kmet, 4 targets, 3 receptions for 35 yards. That's a log game. What's the truth on Cole Kmet? Is he a hog or a log?
So here's the real truth. I'm waiting for the numbers to come out on this game, but what I'm afraid of is that when they really started playing well and Justin Fields started playing well, they shifted how Cole Kmet was used. Earlier in the year, he was playing like every snap, running every route. The last 3 games, right? The first 2, when he really started popping off, he blocked on 8 and then 9 pass plays, which is 25% in the first game and then nearly 20% in the second game, which is not going to do it. There's only been one tight end over the last decade that's blocked on more than 15% of his snaps and finished like a top 5 tight end. That was George Kittle. You can't block that much. Last week, he only blocked on 3 pass plays, but I suspect that what happened this week is they had him stay in to block on a few more pass plays, which I think is a big part of what's freeing up Justin Fields to scramble and run. But when it's bad for Cole Kmet, it's bad. And if you go back and look at the games and take away the touchdowns, that wouldn't be that great. So that's what I'm a little worried about with Cole Kmet is that we have to wait and see the numbers. They should be out at some point today, but I'm a little worried about that. So we have to hold off and see what that's like, but hard to trust guys like that. I'll tell you, that's how we got like Dawson Knox and Tyler Higbee of years past.
Do you think Justin Fields' injury in this game affected how much Cole Kmet was blocking? Like, do you think they were trying to get more protection for Fields after he went down hurt? Because he looked like he was hurting pretty bad in the second half there.
He looked double hurt. From what David Chow said, it was both a hamstring and a shoulder. So, David Chow said that he should be able, David Chow used to be the head physician for the Chargers. So that's why we trust him to look at these things and say, here's what I would do. Right. And in his opinion, he thinks that with injections, Fields should be good to go, but how effective he'll be could be question mark. But if he stays back in the pocket more, that could be better for guys like Mooney and Kmet. Who knows?
But not for Fields. Not for Fields. We've seen him try to be a pocket passer, right? And it hasn't gone well. That was the problem with Fields at the beginning of this season. It wasn't quite working. It was not quite working.
I thought this game was going to go differently than it did. I was pretty bullish on the Bears side of this, and it just didn't come to fruition. I think the Falcons and the Bears are kind of similar teams. So I think that it makes more sense that we're going to get variance here.
Yeah.
You know what really scared me? It speaks to how scary Vegas is that before the game, I was like, why is the over-under for this game set at 48.5? That's high. And then with 1 minute left in the game, the score was 24-24, which is 48 points. I was like, Vegas, you did it again. Like why are they so good, man? Why are they so good?
It's scary, man. It is scary. I've talked to some Vegas lines makers and stuff, and dude, they're sharp.
Right. The game almost ended. They said 48.5. The game was damn close to ending at 48 points going into overtime. I was like, good God, man, those guys are sick. They're sick.
They're on top of it. Justin Fields, even though he got hurt, he had 153 yards passing, a touchdown, and interception, but added 85 yards on the ground and a rushing touchdown. Dude's a hog. Whenever he's healthy and he's on the field, he is a hog, certified hog for fantasy. And Jay in the chat saying if Fields isn't running so much, so if he's injured, stock up for Montgomery, because Montgomery, I think, had a hog game here as well. 17 carries, 67 yards, and a touchdown, then adding 54 yards through the air as well. Coop, Does this raise how you're viewing Montgomery rest of season if Justin Fields maybe isn't going to be running as much?
So for me, what really raised him was Khalil Herbert being out. And I believe Khalil Herbert went on IR. So he's minimum 4 games out. Yeah. So that was the big wheels up moment for Montgomery for me. I think I'd rather just have Fields healthy. Sometimes that play action helps. I just, whatever's working is what I want to continue happening. So if Justin Fields is playing well and David Montgomery's playing well, I want them both out there. I don't like change, I don't like change.
Snuck out of you for a second.
I don't like when things change.
It's weird. Now Coop's back. This is the Coop we know.
That was very Russell, which everyone has the British accent, and I mix them up all the time.
I think that's a Russell Brand.
I
don't like when things change. I don't want to see it.
I'm so bad at the Russell last names. I always mix them up. Like all the famous Russells, I just mix up all the famous Russells.
Russell Brand.
I defer to Simmons.
Russell Wilson.
Oh, Russell Simmons.
Russell Simmons.
Yeah. Russell Westbrook.
I know that name.
Russell Westbrook and Wilson. Every once in a while I'll slip out and I'll say the wrong one.
I got those.
The bus.
It's really the Crow and Brant that I get mixed up on every single time. I don't know why. I just can't remember which one's which. No matter how many times I look it up, I get stuck. Stuck.
Crow, America. Brant.
Pretty sure Russell Crowe's from Australia.
England, I think. I
don't know. Pretty sure. It's easy. Just remember these incorrect facts about him. and then you got it. Strong Style Ninja said Russell from Up, and Jay said I thought it was Russell Wilson. The impression you're doing.
Russell from Up.
Just remember that JL said Russell Crowe, America. Then Coop said he's from Australia, and that'll lead you to the fact that he was actually born in New Zealand. And then
is that true?
It says he's born in New Zealand, but then moved to Australia.
Where the heck is New Zealand?
It's next to Australia, kind of. It's over there in the Pacific Ocean.
I'm so bad at geology.
So bad at geology.
Geology? Are you kidding?
Just the worst. Yeah.
Geography, bro. Geology is like the study of rocks.
No.
You guys ever you always knew which kids were taking geology on campus because they were the only kids walking around with a box of rocks on campus. Like they wouldn't throw it in their book bag because they didn't want the rocks to get all rustled up. Speaking of Russells, but they would just be like these nerds walking around with boxes of rocks, and I'd be a little bit jealous every time. I'd be like, man, I want a box of rocks. Like I want to be that nerd with the rocks.
Maria's dad is he's a scientist, and he loves rocks. He's not only a rock scientist, but that's just like part of what he's done. So their whole like mantle place over their fireplace is rocks and pictures.
That's awesome.
Jill, Simon, that's how you ended up on that bowling date. You saw her and you're like, ooh, there's a geology student. And then she opened up your bag and you're like, oh, it's a bowling ball.
Yeah. I thought that. I guess that's one big rock.
Oh.
I got confused when on a couple dates with the basketball team as well because they kept talking about passing the rock, and I was like, "Oh, I want to get in on this."
Bait and switch, dude.
I know, full bait.
Like, is that an Ignatius? And they're like, "Nah, dude, we got a game versus St. Mary's."
I just like the idea that like the Clemson basketball player is like sad that Simon didn't hit him up again for a second date.
What did I do wrong?
Yeah, I really liked him.
Man, I did have a Clemson basketball player in one of my classes, City Jete. Dude is like 6'10", just this massive human being. He was in my public speaking class.
You sit behind him?
Yes, actually, I did sit behind him in that class. I sat directly behind him. But I was given a persuasive speech on why you should hate Duke basketball. And at a certain point in the speech, like I had note cards. I ripped them in half and I called City up to the front of the class and I just interviewed him about his experience with Duke on the court. And he like bought in immediately. Like he asked no questions. He just came up front, sat down, and like he fed me the answers that I wanted. Like I would ask him like leading questions about Duke players. And he was like, oh yeah, the most arrogant. I can't believe the presence with which they walk on the court. Like dude was a hero. He was unbelievable. It was so cool.
That's awesome. I love that. That's a great story.
Way cooler than rocks, dude.
Way cooler than rocks.
Should have led with that. Why are we talking about rocks for 5 minutes to get that story out of you? That's a great story.
On the Falcons.
Jesus, man. Come on. Talk about burying the lead. What's all that simple rocks?
How to build up, Coop. It's all part of the build up.
I don't even remember how we got here, but I'm glad we're here.
That was a real slow burn, dude. Talking about
we were talking about Russell Crowe is how we got here because Coop did a British accent and then somehow that ended up on Rock Talk. The Falcons side of the ball, there was really only one hog on this side of the ball, I feel like, and that was Cordarrelle Patterson. Cordarrelle Patterson with the kickoff return, setting the record. Certified hog, right?
Yeah,
Total hog.
That's a hog move for sure.
Coop, are
I don't
there
know if
any other hogs, or Jail, any other hogs here?
I don't know if there's any other hogs. Cordarrelle Patterson, total hog this week. Next week, what my question to you guys would be is Cordarrelle Patterson going to continue to be a hog? I mean,
No, I don't think so, because for fantasy purposes, I don't think he is a hog anymore. They're getting Tyler Algier fairly involved in this offense. He had 8 carries to Patterson's 10. Mariota ran the ball 13 times this week. They're going to mix it up with these rookie backs and with Patterson. Patterson should get more receiving work, though he hasn't been as involved in the receiving game this year. Like even before he got injured, which has been like he was getting his work done on the ground before he got injured. We're talking 20 plus carries a game. Now he's not getting that, and he's still not getting the receiving work. So he's like a RB3, like startable, but not someone I'm jamming into my lineups.
We talked about that at the beginning of the season, that we were like, we liked Patterson because we thought he was going to catch passes, but then he didn't, but he was running the ball well. It's like being right for the wrong reasons. But now that he's splitting, and they did split the snaps 50-50, you're right. It's kind of yucky now.
Jay came in and said, how the heck is Patterson a hog? And honestly, he has a good point. Like Patterson only scored 12.9 fantasy points. I think he's a relative hog. He's a hog compared to everyone around him.
Setting the record is setting an all-time record is a hog move.
Yeah.
So he was a hog this week, but he's not a hog moving forward. Let's clarify that.
That's a great clarification.
For you to come in here and even dare question him being a hog when he set the all-time record is preposterous. Not even a relative hog. He's an all-time hog. That's not relative to anything. That's relative. Hog. That's relative to everybody else. Know what I mean? Right. Relative to every single other player ever.
Hog of famer.
He's a hog of famer.
It took me a little bit to get that one out. We got there, dude.
Hog of famer.
Hog-o-matic, dude.
Hog-o-matic, baby.
I love you guys. It's fun.
We should make a hog
show,
of fame.
Dude. I love you guys. We should do this every day.
We should do this more often.
Yeah.
Honeymoons. Can we do it again tomorrow morning?
Honeymoons are cool, but talking about hogs with the boys, now you're talking about language.
Can't beat it.
Hog
of fame coming in from strong. Guys, I'm serious. At the end of the season, we should start the Hog of Fame, and we can we got to be selective, like very selective with who gets inducted into the Hog of Fame. But we create a Hog of Fame where we induct fantasy players into our Hog of Fame.
Love it.
I like that.
Absolutely love it.
Let's do it. Honestly, lots of logs for the Falcons. I don't think we need to hit on every log. Kyle Pitts, log. Coop, does he have any hope of not being a log ever again?
I think he got hurt. So again, it's like he continues. Right. He continues to like weasel his way out of it via large target totals or getting hurt. It's like if he would just be straight up bad, then that would be a lot easier for all of us than going out and getting 8 targets and giving us hope. So I don't know, man. But he's hurt. So I think you got to make other plans.
Yeah, absolutely.
Strong style ninja coming in with the adding on to your idea, building off of your idea, Simon. Start a hog and log of fame.
The log of
fame.
The log of shame. It's the hog of fame and the log of shame.
Log of shame. Yes. Did you say log of infamy? Because I like to say if we have to go with log of shame, but log of infamy is hilarious.
I'm imagining like the graphics for the log of shame is it truly is a log, and one by one we put a photo of each player that made the log sitting on the log, and at first it's just 2 guys, but after years this is like a 40-foot log, and like there's Taysom Hill sitting next to Zach Wilson, and we just create this log of shame.
It's like it's like that old timey pictures of the all the workers sitting up on that beam, right?
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm picturing, but it's a log.
That.
And we'll put it on our site that will come out soon.
Cool.
Just wall of infamy.
Wow. So we were able. Now that we've made it through one game over the course of 20 minutes, do you guys want to talk about another game?
We had important things to talk about.
That good of a game,
rocks.
Like rocks, dude. There was like 2 good players.
There was some really good stories, though.
Yeah,
guys. Yeah, I mean, I guess next time I can skip the rock story if need be, but that seems a little ridiculous. Like, I'm not sure what you want me to do there. My hands were tied. The next game I wanted to talk about was this Browns-Bills game. The Bills coming out on top 31-23 in their home game in Detroit due to the snow, but the Bills didn't end up pulling it out. On the Bills side, though, Josh Allen has not looked like himself over the past couple of weeks, and it continued this week. 197 passing yards. He went 18 for 27, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, and then he only added 7 yards on the ground. Coop, hog or log for Josh Allen?
I mean, that's the thing. You pretty much said it there that we know he's a hog, but he's got a lot of log tendencies right now while he's banged up, man. You know, it's crazy. And then the one like last week when he tackled that dude, elbow first, everybody freaked out. So now it's like, on one hand we're like, be more aggressive, and then on the other hand we're like, don't get hurt. So it's just so hard to watch a guy like this knowing he's not playing at its full capacity.
What it is it's like, no, don't do it, as they're peeking through their hands to watch him power through for the touchdown. Like every Bills fan is like, protect yourself, Josh, please, as he powers through again. Yeah. Like they don't really want him to. They just want to say that so that whenever he gets hurt, they can be like, see, I knew it. See, I knew it.
Yeah, but he's got to be, he's not a hog right now. I'll say that. We know there's a hog in there somewhere.
Yeah, there's a hog in there somewhere just dying to get out.
You know who was a hog in this game, though?
Who?
Jacoby Brissett.
Jacoby Brissett.
Total hog.
Truly.
29.86 fantasy points, 28 completions, 41 attempts, 324 yards, 3 touchdowns. Jacoby Brissett is the man.
Man, it's been fun watching him succeed, hasn't it?
Me too.
I've just enjoyed watching him succeed because he's just out here playing just to play. Know what I mean? Like he knows his job is gone in 2 weeks. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to come out here and I'm going to do my best to beat the Buffalo Bills, the best team in the NFL. And this running game got nothing going. The strength, the heart and soul of this Browns team, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, they had a total of 80 rushing yards between them plus Jacoby Brissett in this game. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt combined had 51 rushing yards in this game. So it really came down to Jacoby Brissett, and he did everything he could to win.
He had
this
more
game.
rushing yards than Nick Chubb.
He did.
Yeah. He had 29 rushing yards. Nick Chubb only had 19.
I'll tell you this, dude. The moment that I gained, and this is back when he was on the Patriots, I gained a ton of respect for Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett was the QB. He got hurt, and then Jimmy G was supposed to play, and then Jimmy G got nicked up a little bit. And Jimmy G said he wouldn't play and, worried about his long-term career or whatever. And Jacoby Brissett, even though he was more hurt than Jimmy G, came out and played. And Martellus Bennett has publicly called out Jimmy G for that moment in time. But Jacoby Brissett, he's a baller. He's a gamer. He was hurt enough that the doctors ruled him out and said Jimmy G could play, and Jimmy didn't play. And Jacoby was like, I'll just play that. And he did. So mad respect. That's a hog move. That's a hog move. Yeah.
Jacoby Brissett, certified hog this week, absolutely killed it. And he chucked the ball up to another hog or two in that offense as well. Amari Cooper, 8 receptions off 12 targets, 113 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I am so happy that we get to talk about Amari Cooper as a hog almost every single week now. Dude's like a locked and loaded hog. Coop, you with me? Amari Cooper's a hog, and do you think he's a hog rest of season?
I think so, especially with the quarterback upgrade. Well, what should be Jacoby Brissett's been playing so well, but another quarterback upgrade here. We've always worried. We always knew Amari Cooper to have monster games, and we were just scared every once in a while he'd have a bad one. I think those days might be over here. I think he's locked in.
He's locked in. Jail. What's the upside for Amari Cooper rest of the season with Deshaun Watson coming back?
It's very high. It's very high. It is to the moon. I think it was last night that I did a whole apology. I ate my vegetarian crow because Amari Cooper has looked fantastic this season, and I have historically disparaged Amari Cooper for years and years and years and years. Way too long, but he kind of deserved it. Amari Cooper this year, it's fantastic. We talked about Deshaun Watson a little earlier in the show, him coming in and what that means to the rest of these the pieces on the team. Amari Cooper is the one he stands to probably gain the most benefit from Deshaun Watson coming back. So upside is wide receiver 1.
I mean, he did last week. Last week he did what he does, and he had 3 catches for 32 yards. Every once in a while he does that. So, but still, you got to get him more lineup every single time because of the games. I mean, how many touchdowns does that guy have now? 7, 8?
70,000.
Is it 70,000?
I think it's 1 million, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't checked this morning, but last time I checked, it was right around there. Now he's got 7 receiving touchdowns on the year so far. 7 receiving touchdowns. You're pretty happy about that.
Very good.
Underdog millionaire.
DJ Moore would never, guys. DJ Moore would never get 7 receiving touchdowns. Amari Cooper's got it though. There was another hog on this team, at least I think so. John Luke, what's the deal with Donovan Peoples-Jones? Is he a hog? No, you're a hog, but not from this game. You're a hog in a different game.
Oh man. DPJ is a total hog this game. 17.1 fantasy points, 6 targets, 5 receptions, 61 yards, touchdown. That's beautiful. That's beautiful from DPJ.
I want to see that fella have a 100-yard game before I call him a hog. He's living in he's living in og land, not a log, but not quite a hog. He's just in the og territory. I need a 100-yard game from that guy, and then I'll be like, this guy's the guy. But I don't know. Just to me, if you're not
finished this week,
he has not had a 100-yard game all season. He's just been rock solid, is what he's been. But like, I just need for me to consider him to be a hog. 10. A true hog. I need to see him go out and drop a 100 spot. I guess he did have 99 yards against the Dolphins. But still, let's see it. Let's see 100 yards, Donovan.
In half PPR, he was wide receiver 10 this week. In full PPR, wide receiver 11. Now, there's still a game left tonight, right? There's still a game left. He could get knocked down, but he's likely a wide receiver 1 this week.
Well, yeah, for what he is, right, what he's been, I think that makes him a hog this week. I'm not saying he's a hog every week going forward.
5
this week, that's solid.
5 for 61 and a touchdown.
Ogland.
Og.
How was Ogland when you visited, Coop?
He's just barely at the edge of the farm. It was awesome. It was great, but we were when we were in Ogland, we kept looking off in the distance at the Devontae Adamses of the world, and we just, over in Hogville, which is kind of the upper side of town. They don't let just anybody in there, but me and Donovan Peoples-Jones, we got right up against the fence. And we were looking at it, and we were like, let me in. Donovan's like, and they were like, if you had 1 more yard against the Dolphins.
What happened next?
What happened
Who
next
else is in Ogland?
We fought for that yard. We fought every day for that yard. Who else is in Ogland? I feel like
is Josh Allen hanging out with you there right now? Did they kick him out for a couple weeks?
They kind of, well, that's the thing is
Rondale
they sent
Moore?
him. He's standing in Hogland still, but at the edge of the gate. Rondale Moore has never made it in, dude. He's standing on Wandale
Cheering
Robinson.
you guys from
Him and Wandale Robinson are
200 yards back.
him and Wandale Robinson are standing on each other's shoulders in like a trench coat, and they're like trying to get in, and everyone's like, "Come on."
They're like, "It's me, Chase Claypool."
Bo Alley They're wearing a Colt. It's not a trench coat. It's a Colts. It's like a really XXXXL Colts jersey of Bo Alley Cox.
And then at the very top of the hill, sitting on a golden throne, is Travis Kelce, and he's just like, "Don't let them in."
The King Hog.
And the Colts mascot just thrusting up there.
Oh, he's a hog. He was a hog
just
this weekend.
Just taunting you from beyond the fence.
Now that's hog behavior this week. Yeah. Travis Kelce, I said I wouldn't draft him in the first round because there's never been a tight end that's finished number 1 as the flex number 1. Travis Kelce right now is flex number 2 in full PPR.
Pasta.
Yeah. And number 3.5. So he is very, very close to being to breaking a rule of thumb that has basically been the reason I don't draft tight ends in the first round ever. And now I'm like, Travis Kelce was 100% justified as a first round pick right now, right? No question.
Yeah. Oh, without a doubt. I think so. I'm with you, Coop. So that's wild. If a tight end finishes as the top flex option, that would be absurd.
Never happened. Never happened.
I can't wait for the day. Better Allen Chastain hog move for sure.
I think he was talking about Brissett. I think that was back whenever Brissett playing in that game, whenever Jimmy G said, nah, whenever he had the log move.
Get those Better Al in the chat. Get those flexes up. I want to see those strong arms in the chat for Better Al. Yeah.
Oh, he got him in there.
Let's go. That's hog business right there, boy.
That's the GOAT.
You guys want to move on to another game, Hogs and Logs from another game, or any more from this Browns-Bills game before we move on? Any other Hogs or Logs you want to hit on?
Devin Singletary is I think he's right up against the fence too, right? He's playing the snaps, man. Like that's all that matters in this world. They did try and give some of the other guys carries, and Singletary is just better, man. He's just better right now.
Yeah, I think this whole Josh Allen injury thing helps Singletary. Gives him a little bit more upside here. They're going to lean on him a little bit more. He got 18 carries this week.
72% of the snaps. I got it. James Cook played 25%, which means they got him on the field at the same time because we know Nyheim Hines played a little bit too. But in this world, all we can ask for is 70% of the snaps for our running back. Am I right?
Yeah, or 18 carries. That's plenty. That's plenty.
Every format. Yeah, that's for sure.
And with Josh Allen banged up, maybe we do see more goal line work for Devin Singletary continue through the back of this season, keeping him healthy. So I don't think it's a coincidence that Josh Allen got hurt, and then we see his first 3 touchdowns come in 2 weeks, right? Like they're probably changing that usage up a little bit. And shout out Joey. Joey called it out last week, called it out this week. He's on fire with calling for Singletary touchdowns. We'll see if it continues.
Ooh, we got a if you check the restream, the YouTube comments side, we have an update on World Cup.
4-0 now for England. It looks like they knocked another one in. And 234 in here saying Jude Bellingham, who scored England's first goal today, is 19 years old.
Oh, I hate that. I hate that so much.
JL's feeling old. Dude.
So old. I'm getting to the point where now, like, the NFL players who are my age are starting to be considered old, and I hate it.
Yeah. So I have to ask JL. Speaking of old, when I left, there was a bit of a beard. There was a beard experiment going on. Seems that
there was.
Has been canceled.
That has been canceled. And you know what? I was going through my computer like 2 days ago, and I found a screenshot from one of the videos or clips with me with beard, and I was like, "Ew! I can't believe you guys let me look like that."
I thought you looked great, dude. You were getting
disgusting.
I did tune in a couple more while you're still going, dude. I was ready to. We got to get some screenshots of evil JL because that's what you look. You looked like. You look like
because
evil.
It only like mostly grows in this goatee, which just makes me look evil and like my dad.
You looked like an evil hippie, dude. You looked like you were gonna offer me like a brownie and like be like, like. Just
in a few more weeks, it would have, or like weeks, I think it would have folded out more on the cheeks because it was. But I just got sick. I didn't want it. It's annoying. It wasn't comfortable.
It is annoying. Yeah.
Who was the baseball player that people kept saying you looked like JL? Over and over again, Mike Piazza.
Mike Piazza, yeah.
Was it Mike Piazza with the goatee said that you looked like it? Yeah, Keith in the chat saying Piazza as well.
It was there.
Like I remember someone mentioning that, but was that multiple times?
I heard it like 3-4 times. People saying Piazza that you had that look. People in the chat, Tommy as well coming in now agreeing with it.
I see it. I got you.
You see it?
There was one particular picture where I was like, "Whoa!" Like it doesn't look like Mike Piazza. It doesn't look like JL. It looks like both you guys. Like it does. It doesn't even look
like a Venn
Mike
diagram
Piazza.
of us.
Yeah, I'll see. I got the link here. Yeah. Look at this picture. I think that link should.
You put both their pictures into one of the things that creates a baby image, and then you put that baby image into a different program that accelerates a baby into an adult, and that's the portrait that
and
came
then,
out.
and then you get that picture, and then you get that picture somehow published on the LA Times, like
front page. Where I wonder why did I spend so much time doing this?
Yeah, that picture is like it's right there, dude. I don't know if I was even able to send it properly, but good pick, strong pick. All right, let's get back to some Hogs and Logs. What do you say?
Back to some Hogs and Logs. Let's move on to our next game. Now, the next game I wanted to talk about was this Lions-Giants game. The Lions pulling it out 31-18 in this one. And we got to start with probably the most disappointing log and someone that usually isn't on the log list. We talked about it a little bit already, but Saquon Barkley, 15 carries for 22 yards, and then not involved in the receiving game very much either. 5 targets, 2 receptions for 13 yards. JL, what happened, man? What happened to Saquon Barkley? He should have been a top 5 running back this week, right?
I mean, he should be every week. Saquon Barkley is wildly talented. Yeah, he's been amazing all season. This game just did not go the Giants' way. Didn't. The Lions played. I don't expect this going forward for Saquon Barkley. You're gonna have games like this.
Yeah, Coop, you agree?
100%, man. Like the thing is, one touchdown gets vultured every once in a while, but he usually gets the other one, right? So like, every once in a while Daniel Jones will take one, but he'll get the other one and you feel fine about it. But this week it just so happened that Matt Breida and Daniel Jones stole them both. Like if he had gotten the one touchdown, we wouldn't be talking about him in this way.
Right.
So I think
just an okay finish for him.
He's the opposite of Cordarrelle Patterson, where he had a log week, but he is a hog.
Adam wants to know, are we worried about Saquon's production with the O-line injuries? So with the O-line injuries, do you think that played into this, or do you think Saquon can transcend a bad offensive line? It doesn't matter.
He has to do it through the pass game. If that's usually that you count on these guys like where it's like, okay, the O-line sucks, they start throwing it to him, but you can't have this situation where he's only catching 3 balls. He's got to be more involved.
Yeah, that anytime that a running back has a terrible offensive line like this, typically they do make it up in the receiving game, right? Like Najee Harris is a great example of that, but it's just they're limited. Saquon Barkley is limited by his offensive line. It's not going to change, but he's not going to be a log forever. He's not going to be he's a log this week. Start him next week with confidence.
Yeah. Now I got to ask the chat. I need the chat's opinion on this one. Is Jamaal Williams a hog this week or no? Because his performance, it's like 3.8 yards per carry, only 64 yards, but he did score 3 touchdowns. But didn't it feel like other people were carrying the water a bit, JL? Like
it did.
Amon-Ra St. Brown getting down to like the 1 on making a guy miss, getting down the run. We got better out.
That's what Jamaal Williams does, like 3 more touchdowns. He's probably leading in rushing touchdowns, right?
Yeah, he's got 12 leads the league.
12. That's 3. He's 3 touchdowns away from what James Conner did last season, which is why James Conner was drafted so highly.
I'm just saying, when I first started playing this game, and I was young when I first started playing, but still, like I remember the days when it was like Priest Holmes would get every carry and Larry Johnson would get none. And then when Priest Holmes would get hurt, Larry Johnson would get every carry and his backup would get none. And Priest Holmes would score 30 touchdowns. And, one year, 2002, Jamal Lewis ran for 2,000 yards and he wasn't the RB1. Priest Holmes was with 30 touchdowns. It was like that back in the day, you couldn't miss. And now it's like DeAndre Swift can go out and make an amazing play, looks amazing, doesn't score.
Right.
Amon-Ra St. Brown carrying the ball down to the 1 so that Jamaal Williams can punch it in. It's a totally different game now. In the chat, we have Adam Weber says hog. Yes. Dustin says hog. 17 carries. I mean, 17 carries is a hog workload, but then you got Better Al saying, nah. You got Tommy saying groundhog.
Really?
Groundhog, not a full hog. Groundhog might be the word there.
What does that mean?
he didn't catch a single pass, did he? Jamaal Williams. So he was kind of a groundhog.
I like that.
Yeah, no receptions, so kind of interesting that. Tommy, Marshall Faulk, LaDainian Thompson, Priest Holmes, Sean Alexander. Like you go back and look at those lists, like every single guy picked in the first round was easily dropping, 1,500 rushing yards. Now we get one guy here, maybe doesn't. So yeah, totally different game now, but yeah. Tough to call him a hog. I think I'm going to say he's a hog though. JL, what do you think?
He is, according to Player Profiler, number 2. He's the number 2 ranked running back in red zone touches. He's also number 9 running back in carries. So he's getting opportunity, which is what matters. I'd say arguably for most of these players, especially running backs. He's getting the opportunity. Yeah, I think he's a total hog. He's good. He's talented. You can't do what he's doing without being good.
Oh, that's hog behavior, right?
He's walking the walk, and now he's going to talk the talk.
And also, I like him, so that also makes me say that he's a hog. Like if he's very likable. Jamaal Williams, is he not?
Yeah, super likable. I think I gave him. Didn't we gave him the superlative for best personality a couple weeks back?
Yeah, hoggish. No, I don't know if I was there, but he 100% would get my vote for that. And it wouldn't be close. Like he's way up.
Not
there.
Even close.
I like George Kittle too, but like something about the way Jamaal Williams does not. He is just himself. Like he doesn't care. Like who else out here is talking about anime and stuff, and like telling the fans like bring me this stuff. Like I love this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's just who he is, and I love that.
Yeah,
but
he's delightful.
Honorable mention for personality, Kittle. I like Kittle a lot. I think he's a funny dude, man.
Yeah.
I put Mike McDaniel up for that one. It was a coach, not a player. That was my nomination.
Right. That was a good one too. I like that.
Yeah, Mike McDaniel. I kind of like McVay, dude. He's a kind of funny dude. I feel like
his voice gets me because I like the longest time I just saw like video of him, like not with his voice. It's just like video of him like on the sideline of him doing stuff. And then he talked, and I was like, he sounded different than I thought, and I've never been able to get that out of my head.
McVay.
Yeah.
Dude, I feel like I had that with Mike McDaniel when I first heard him talk. And I was like, this guy's gonna coach. He's gonna coach a football team, but he is kind of a G. I
I see Brian in the chat, who we missed here. He said, I need 54 points for a victory with McCaffrey, Connor, the 49ers, defense, special teams, and Robbie Gould. Do I squeeze out the W? Excellent phrasing there. Love that. Choice of words. Does he squeeze out the W? What do you think?
Let's break it down. McCaffrey, what's a reasonable estimate for the number of points tonight? 20? Like just 20 points? He
needs the Cardinals to show up, right?
Because he needs 20 from Connor too. Know what I mean? He needs 20 from both of those guys. And then between the 49ers defense and Gould, maybe they can get you those 14 points on top of that. But you need 20 each from McCaffrey and Connor. I'm with you, Coop. Connor's got to show up for this.
I think you got to throw the defense out the window, and you need the Cardinals to make it enough of a game that the 49ers don't go away from McCaffrey, right? Like you want the 49ers being like McCaffrey, Debo, like using their guy. Like it has to be a shootout for you to win that, because you're not going to win it. You're not going to win it based on the if it's a low scoring game that the 49ers win, you're not going to win based on defense and the kicker. You need
James Conner. San Francisco defense is giving up the least points to fantasy football running backs. It's a tough matchup for him. They're no joke.
I want to ask one more to the chat, because I think this one is also divisive from the same team. Like Amon-Ra St. Brown. We know who he is. He's such a low ADOT. He doesn't really break tackles. He doesn't really get a ton of yards. Like, can you be a hog as a guy that is like, 7 catches for 76 or 455, 7 for 60? Like, is he a hog, do you think? Or what are your feelings on Amon-Ra St. Brown?
I think he's a hog. Yeah. I think he's a hog who's got a log throwing him the ball. He's a hog doing the best with those
hog to hog
throws.
Connection is frustrating.
Yeah, that log to hog is honestly, the hog to log is better, right? Like whenever you get a hog, sometimes they transcend the log. They can make the logs work, but the log to hog, you can only do so much when there's a log at the center of what you're doing.
That's true. And that's the problem right now for a lot of the 49ers tonight. That's right. I feel right.
Jimmy G, log from Coop. You heard it here first.
Total log.
Is Jimmy G your Kirk Cousins?
Yes, I root for him, but like it's just hard. It's just hard. Cousins, like the more I watch Kirk Cousins, the more I'm on board with JL.
Yes, there's room. Join the Kirk Cousins hate train.
He's just such a dork.
I don't even
hate him. It's like watching that show Doug. And you're just like, you're like rooting for Doug. Like I'm rooting for Doug, but I'm like, Doug, can you stop being such a loser for 1 second?
Like really things would go better for you if you were just cool for once.
Right? It's like literally you look at Chalky Studebaker and you're like, can you just be like Chalky? Or even be like Roger Klotz?
Yeah, like maybe Roger bullies you for a reason, Doug. Like get it together.
Maybe you're asking for it, Doug.
Like
just kidding. Doug. We are not victim blaming.
I would just have the secondhand cringe I would get watching Doug bumble through life. It's like, Doug, will you just come on, get it together, please?
Doug, that is the best comparison for Kirk Cousins I've ever heard. I didn't think we were going to top Greek yogurt, but Doug.
It's Doug, dude.
He's just Doug.
Greek yogurt.
Yeah. If he's Doug, then who's Arnold from Hey Arnold?
Depressed.
I'm so good at this. Give me a little bit and I'll get you the right answer. Yeah.
Arnold.
While we do that, George in here. Good morning, George. At what point do we hit the panic button on AJ Brown?
I don't know, man. I think I can't. I'll tell you right now. I'm starting AJ Brown in my lineup for the rest of the year to my own detriment. I don't care. I'm not benching AJ Brown under any circumstance. How's that sound?
That sounds pretty good to me.
I'm with you. I'm right there with you. Sounds great.
You know what I mean? I don't care. If he has 1 catch for 10 yards in the next 3 games, guess what? I lose. I don't care. I made my bed with AJ Brown. I think he's a great player. I'm just gonna stick with him. So.
We've had 2 bad games from him, and it's not just him. It's 2 bad games from the Eagles in general. And so this offense, it's so low passing volume. AJ Brown is gonna have games like this when the games don't go their way and they don't pass a lot, or he doesn't get the touchdowns. He's still the number 1 guy on this team. The Eagles are still wildly talented and good. They're gonna turn around. I would not panic.
You ever scroll through the good corner? Yeah, it is a tough matchup. You ever scroll through the list of top wide receivers? And I'm sitting there thinking, like, of course you play AJ Brown every week, but then like you scroll through the top wide receivers from that week, and you're just like, this is stupid. Like this is just dumb. Like AJ Brown's not on that list, but we're looking at Joshua Palmer, Demarcus Robinson, Chris Olave, Christian Watson, Wan'Dale Robinson, George Pickens, Donovan Peoples-Jones, all here in the top 12, just like we all thought at the beginning of the season, right? And then AJ Brown sitting out here.
I thought the wide receiver. I thought that's why we go 0 RB, because wide receivers are predictable. It's like, no, this whole thing is just a beautiful nightmare, beautiful dark twisted nightmare, as Kanye West might say.
I got your Hey Arnold comp.
Who you got?
It's Josh Allen.
He's just like Mr. Cool dude, right?
Stephon Diggs is his Gerald. And then it's like his best friend. And then everybody like I don't know who is
Gabe Davis is Eugene. Just like not quite catching the ball. Last 2 weeks. This week he had the one-handed one, didn't quite catch it. The week before he didn't catch it, but they gave it to him. Like he's kind of Eugene in a little bit.
And Sean McDermott kind of looks like the grandpa. Like grandpa aged a little bit.
That show is depressing. That show's a little bit, and you know what? It kind of fits. Like I feel like Josh Allen's got to be a little bit sad right now. Know what I mean? He's not playing. This is a team that was supposed to just run straight through every team that they played this year, and it's been tough sledding the past couple of weeks. They have not looked like that surefire Super Bowl champion that we thought they were, like weeks 1 through 3. So Josh Allen probably got a little bit of that sadness that lives over Arnold's football-shaped head. If you watch that show, I did not remember how just like sad the vibes were. The whole show's general vibe is depression.
Like dark.
That's the vibe of the show. It's sad.
It's like raining in every episode of that show too.
Always. George in here, following up on the AJ Brown one, said he was debating playing Mike Evans over him. So Coop, Mike Evans or AJ Brown? Would you plug Mike Evans in over Brown, or are you still plugging Brown in, week out?
Because I didn't know George Cook had a absolute wagon of a team.
Mike Evans is his fourth wide receiver.
Yeah. Go ahead. Play the matchups though. Like this is the week you should have did that to avoid Stephon Gilmore. Right. Next week, Eagles get the Packers and the Buccaneers. Buccaneers were on bye week this week, so you couldn't have started.
Yeah.
Your Bucs get the Browns. I think I would start Mike Evans over. So
yeah.
Yes. In that situation, then no. In the leagues that I'm in where I have AJ Brown, I don't really have those kind of choices. So I'm stuck.
Coop says, I will start him no matter what to the ends of this earth, except in that situation.
Except when you have Mike Evans.
Because you got Mike Evans sitting there. So then I would make that move right there. And Illmind Jed, I had a question for, said, which football player would you want for a bodyguard? So they're going to be around you all the time too. Know what I mean? I think there's the physical attributes. If we're being honest, most NFL players can probably bodyguard you pretty well.
Yeah.
You're taking
most of the threats that you experience or will experience can probably be easily handled by an NFL player.
Mine's easy. No questions asked. Christian Wilkins is my bodyguard. We are going to have so much fun. He's going to go.
That answer. He's
going to go full Power Rangers on them. He's going to Christian Wilkins is going to be the most fun bodyguard on planet Earth.
No, I'm taking Jamaal Williams, and I'll have the power of God and anime on my side.
You're gonna take a running back as your bodyguard? He's just gonna run away. He's gonna pick you up and speed runner away from your threat.
I'll check the interview. Check. Jamaal Williams anime boyfriends. Type that in, and then you'll see what I'm talking about.
Dude, we gotta get him on here and talk some anime.
It's already fresh in your Google your history. Type
Still
that
up
in
the tab.
Yeah,
I would go with JJ Watt. Because I feel like not only could he physically protect me, but emotionally he could protect me, and I feel like he would get really invested. Like he would care deeply about his work.
He would be such a tryhard, right?
Yeah, but in like a loving, comforting way. Like he just Papa Bear me basically is what I'm hoping for.
So you want him to protect you, but also if you have like spaghetti on your cheek, he would come over and give you one of these.
I just think he would.
Like his thumb, I don't even think.
Yeah, I think that's just what would happen.
Is he gonna if he's gonna Papa Bear you? Is he also gonna Mama Bird you? Is that how he's gonna feed you your meals?
If I'm lucky.
Who would be the worst bodyguard, and why is it Zach Wilson?
Robbie Anderson.
You would get killed, and they would ask Zach Wilson, do you have any do you take any responsibility for the murder of the person that you were guarding? No.
Yeah. It was windy.
Robbie Anderson.
I was going to protect him, but it was colder with it. Yeah, Robbie.
Every time I see Robbie Anderson, I'm like, you like, I'm surprised. I'm like, wow, you somehow look skinnier than I thought. Again.
Yeah.
Like you're so small.
Mike Wallace, like he quit on like 3 different teams. One time mid-game. He walked to the Dolphins locker room mid-game and was like, I retire. Like, Mike Wallace. Yeah, great.
If Hunter Renfrow was my bodyguard, I think I'd be bodyguarding him. Like I think we would just like he would show up and he'd be like, yeah, you got this, right? Like he's standing behind me with his bag of grapes. He's like, hey, handle that guy.
He'd be undercover. Nobody would know, though. You know what I mean? Like you two would just be walking around and no one would know that. Like,
I bet those guys work in software.
We both just wear the Renfrow jersey and then no one knows who's who. And then like, who are these 2 nerds wearing football jerseys?
If you Renfrow, Danny Woodhead, and Dustin Pedroia all just standing together, and everyone's like, "Who's the athlete?" And that red hat.
Sorry, did you say mathlete? Is that what you said? Man, I have a mathlete shirt somewhere. Maybe that's a little embarrassing, but I was a math team star in high school.
That's on the math team too.
Embarrassing. It's legendary.
Legendary.
I didn't get a shirt.
All my other clubs. Oh, you didn't get a mathlete shirt with a number on the back?
You guys had numbers? What number were you?
I was like,
you're pi.
Math, you idiot.
I was something stupid like E to the 3 or something dumb like that.
I was gonna say,
of course.
I would be MC squared, dude. So,
then you're just taking the E. You're like, yeah, and this is what it means, baby.
I would be infinite.
Infinity. We had an infinity on the team.
Doesn't said DK Metcalf. That's a pretty good one. And then Jedi said, I'm taking Derrick Henry or Aaron Donald. Donald has already got experience. I thought about Aaron Donald.
Yeah, that might be the answer. That might be the answer.
Whenever you said Wilkins, I was like, Aaron Donald would be good. And Adam Weber said Wilfork.
Maybe Vrabel. If not a player, but a coach. Vrabel I'd be terrified if that man tried coming at me. Like something about Vrabel is just scary, man. Like whatever Vrabel told me to do, I'd be like, yes, sir. I got it, sir. On it, sir. Like I feel like that's the kind of dude he is. Like he wouldn't even have to fight anyone. He would just instruct people like, stop it. And they'd be like, yes, sir. On it.
I'd pick Adam Gase and he would just stare them down. Like, okay, dude.
Like in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air when he tries to teach Ashley how to fight. And he's like, you just got to start acting crazy.
Start acting crazy. Yeah, Adam Gase would be perfect, dude.
Dustin's on the same route as you saying.
Antonio Brown. Steve Belichick is like just licking his lips like, oh.
Oh man, dude, if I was about to fight, like, you're doing the typical way normal fights start is you and your boys, them and their boys come together and you start eyeing each other up before you get into it. And I feel like if I was on the other side of Steve Belichick making that face at me, I would be out so quick. I'd be like, no, we're good. You're right.
Steve Belichick looks like he cuts his hair because like when it like gets down to his eyes, he just grabs like a Bowie knife and just cuts it like that. Like that's what his hair looks like.
I feel like a group
out of necessity only.
Doing that face is like it's like the whitest Boston version of the haka, like the dance that like they do in Samoa. Like you see the rugby teams go out there and you just see a bunch of Belichicks walk up like just do it. Exactly. There we go. It's trying to go for the intimidation.
You're not fighting that, dude. No chance, bro.
What a perfect thing to end on. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us this morning. Great news. We're going to be back tomorrow morning, 7 to 10 a.m. Eastern time. And Coop, you're not allowed to go back to Europe at least until next week. We need you here the rest of the week, my man. Coming up here today on Better Sports Network. Right after this, you've got Moose and Keith, followed by Lunch Money presented by Fantasy Guru. Then Corey, Nando, and friends on right after that, there to answer your toughest fantasy football questions. Enjoy Monday Night Football, and we will see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning. Yup.